Double LMC.
And I'm Andy PG.
And in case you didn't know, we are the hosts of Rise Above. Rise Above is not just the premier new organic media podcast in the UK. We also happen to put on events.
Book topics, they won't publish. Instigating cold war, Sputnik. Observe you with a satellite view. Heard the cattle these parasites do. Worshipping the gods of our conquerors.
On the dawn of a harvest sun, are we speaking the truth in the sharpest tongue? Feast on a rabbit, served with a garnished lunch.
The last two have been off-grid camping retreats. That was RATreat and Equinox. For the next event in September, which is the 8th to the 10th,
we're basically showcasing a place called Hope in Sussex.
And we have to stress it's not off-grid camping. It's at Hope, Sussex, where it is a full venue with all the facilities. There's buildings there, a cafe. So this is going to be a conference weekender with many different aspects. Let's talk about what's going to happen over the weekend. Now, the Friday night is going to host something very special. For the first time ever, we're going to have the Rise Above podcast in front of a live studio audience. So myself, Andy PG, Oma Beats, Magics, all the team, we're going to be there. And to get your place in the studio, there's only 100 spaces. You need to get yourself the whole rabbit ticket.
That assures you a place in the studio for the Rise Above live show.
On the Saturday, we're going to be showcasing the excellent facilities at Hope, which include a whole set of classrooms.
So again, the site's awesome. It's got a various mix of classrooms that we're going to use as well. We're going to get Mark Devlin in a classroom to do his presentation. You'll be doing a presentation, Lance, as well.
Michael and I.
Oma Beats is doing a presentation. We're just going to generally showcase the great facilities they've got at Hope.
From 6 p.m. on Saturday, we're going to transform the Hope Sussex venue into a full-scale Rise Above rave. 6 hours, ranging from old school breakbeat right up to drum and bass and grime. Don't forget, September the 9th, 2023, the Raw Academy launch party, featuring Mark Devlin, Oma Beats, Magics, Andy PG, Sinstar Dread, Raw Tender, Double LMC and MC Manny, plus special surprise guests.
Rise Above.
Rise Above. On Sunday, it's going to be hosted by the HR department. The Empress has put on a whole selection of wellness and holistic activities. She's going to be doing for the first time she's a Reiki master doing energy healing. Things like guided breathing from Toroidal Dynamics, Simply Yoga from Victoria. So remember, Friday, the first Rise Above live ever. Saturday, a whole host of workshops and classes, a 6-hour rave, and then Sunday, hosted by the HR department. This is RAsummit. Tickets are available now from £50, riseabove.tv.
How do I put it? It was like, what do you care about them? What do you care about those people? What difference does it make to you? Take care of your own life. Do the best you can for you and your family. What do the rest of the people mean to you? They don't mean anything to you. They're just serfs. They're just people. You know, what's the end goal? The end goal is to get everybody chipped, to control the whole society. They want a one-world government controlled by them. Everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip.
One, two. Welcome back, comrades. It's Rise Above Live.
Rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear, rise above, abstract.
It's Friday night. That can mean only one thing. We're back in the studio and everyone else is back glued to their YouTube.
That's it.
Andy PG, you appear to be muted, mate.
Welcome, one and all.
How's everyone doing? So we've got 133 people tuned in. What a surprise. 5.5 minutes into the show. Big shout out to everybody tuned in. Let's make this one a blinder. right now, take this stream, copy the link, share it to your social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of the other alternative sites. Let's get it shared out and let's get loads of people tuned in. We're going fully interactive tonight.
Fuck it, turn it up and open your windows. Let the neighbours hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get the word out. And we've got some special guests tonight, our very, very good friends. And we're just going to get them on straight away. Why not? Our very, very good friends, Dom and Chris Sheep Farm. Welcome, guys.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening. I don't know if Chris, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. I've got no video for some reason. I'm trying. He says it's working, but I don't know.
Well, I'm not discriminating against you or anything. There's nothing like this on the air. But yeah, welcome, guys. It's always great to collaborate.
I'll work it out. Yeah. Nice to see you again, guys. You all right?
Yeah, mate. Well, glad to talk to you, not see you, Chris.
Nice.
I
I'll
think
find
Chris
out.
has got two black eyes or something.
Yeah,
it
I
must
reckon,
be
yeah.
something dodgy.
I thought the last time I saw someone's profile picture with a black square was Black Lives Matter back in 2020.
I've got a bit of suntan. I've got a bit of sun, but not that
Have you
much.
been out sunning yourself in peasant land like Lars?
Yeah.
You just see his teeth.
What have you been up to then, guys, since the last time we spoke?
Not really. Just working, doing our thingies, podcasts. Not much. Not
Thingies?
that exciting.
Just
Yeah.
doing your thingies. Dom, I've got to say, you're looking rather dapper there. Is that a piece of Sheep Farm merchandise? Could you just
It
show
is,
the camera?
yes. Let's
Look at that.
So it's not just got the amazing Sheep Farm logo on there, it's also got some of these bespoke illustrations.
Oh, look, they're
from
gagged. They're
Chris.
gagged with a mask, a virus
It's
mask.
actually depicting, if you look a bit closer, the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil kind of thing.
Oh, right. So instead of monkeys,
Yeah, he's got.
So the
he's got
Speak No
headphones
Evil's
on.
got the peasant mask on.
yeah,
Got the
I
present
love
mask.
that.
He's got. I should have done VR glasses on the other one, but I didn't. They were out then.
Is that available to the general public?
It is now, yeah.
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 Excellent. Is that on the website?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you know how to support the guys. Get on the website, get the merch. So yeah, we've got a fully loaded show tonight. Let me just get rid of some of these extra bits and pieces here and share the screen, because we are getting interactive, lads. As you know, we're opening up the phone line tonight, or Skype. RAsummit@gmail.com. We're going to be generally chewing the cud, cutting through Clown World,
Analysing Clown World.
analysing Clown World, dissecting Clown World. I know Dom has got a presentation about fact checkers as well.
Yeah, a mini presentation, yeah. Not my normal lunatic, but I'm sure we'll add to it as we're going along.
Not the normal Leviathan, but we've got one. Yeah, so Sheep Farm Customer Services. If you want to get hold of us, Andy PG, you're the operator tonight.
I'm here. I've got Skype here. Yeah. We've got Matt producing the show. He's man in the emails as well. If you guys want to email in at all, or if you're lucky enough to be friends with us on Facebook, ping us a message.
I say Andy PG or Snoop PG. If you just look at his hair.
Oh, here we go.
We got go on. Put your head down. We've got Snoop PG in the house tonied. Yeah. Oh,
We're
we
going
can
to
see
do
you
mine
now.
like that, Andy.
We can see you now, Chris. Hello, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, mate, you're all right. Yeah, just I don't know,
There we
just
go.
switched it off and on again, and it worked.
What have you got there tonight, Chris? What peasant wine are you drinking?
Some Primitivo from Puglia. In Italy.
Excellent. Is that a summery flavour?
Not really. It's just red
Okay.
wine.
What does he care? He can't even taste it anymore.
It all goes down the same old, doesn't it?
His taste buds have been burnt off. Drinking terps.
So yeah, it's Sheep Farm Customer Services tonight, guys. We want to hear from you. We want to hear for people from people for the normal reasons. Whether you just want to get hold of us, chat about what we've been talking about on Rise Above, have a rant about Clown World, about the Soviet Union, but especially if you want to ask. Oh, Mark Bajerski's
Shout out
tuned
to
in.
Mark Bajeski. He's in the chat.
But especially if you want to quiz the Sheep Farm on some of the amazing research they've been putting out, on some of the awesome researchers and authors that they've been interviewing, tonight is your chance, right? Because,
Yeah, man.
The phone lines are open from now.
Get involved, guys.
You can jump in anytime. If you don't want to speak to us on the show, you can email in questions, riseabovelivestream@gmail.com. It's the same as the Skype. And yeah, we're going to get interactive.
171 peasants tuned in.
Not bad. So I've got a few announcements. Right, next couple of shows. Next week, we're inviting back Archaics,
Wow.
a controversial character to say the least. Some amazing chronological research, and he's got a load of new projects he's going to be talking about. We're very excited to get Archaics back next week. The week after that, another stalwart of Rise Above is Human Vibration.
This
right?
is going to poke the bear.
Now, how did she describe herself, Andy PG? Was it a deception specialist?
Yeah, and well, it's an anti-deception specialist. She dissects the deception.
Yeah, no, she always sort of steps up to the table, as it were, with like a special
subject or a special presentation when she comes on Rise Above.
Mate, she comes with heavy artillery.
Every
she
single
comes
time.
fully loaded, both barrels. Like, you know.
And the 30th of June is no different, right? Because as the anointation of Sausage Fingers the King has happened, Sausage Fingers 33rd, right? We thought, let's revisit this topic about
Let's dig it up.
Lady Diana, or Lady Di, as she puts it here. So I think this should be pretty interesting. What do you reckon, lads? I reckon there's some secrets that are still to be uncovered about this.
Yeah, we just did a podcast with John Hamer about it a few months ago.
Interesting.
Well, a month or so ago. Because John's written a lot about it. It'd be interesting to see what Human Vibration comes up with, because she'll come from a totally different angle to all of us.
Oh yeah, she definitely always brings her own individual style of presentation to the table.
Yeah,
Well,
you
again,
can
we-
expect it to be different to anything else you've heard before, that's for sure.
Yeah, we
Did
said
you see
before,
that?
haven't we? Each individual brings their own little touch to it and takes it to a different place.
Did you
Absolutely.
see that article about the, one of the pallbearers of a coffin? A veteran. He froze to death. Homeless.
Really?
Yeah, horrible. Yeah. He got semi. I'm not saying he got famous, but he was in the news and stuff for being the pallbearer, and he died homeless and froze to death on the streets. Horrible.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You know,
There's your repayment.
taken care of.
Yeah.
After services to the realm of rendered heat, go peasant.
Yeah, I think he was a marine. Yeah.
Poor old Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so that's the next 2 weeks sorted out for Rise Above, and then the week after this, which I guess will be the 7th of July, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back with something even cooler. So yeah, big shout out to Archaics next week and Human Vibration the week
I'm actually
after
not
that.
here next week.
Oh right,
I'm
so
not here next week.
You're going to have to send me your questions.
Yeah, because I've got a few questions I want them to put to Archaics, but I might call in. I don't know. I'm going up to see Becky actually, my Ramish wife.
Big shout out to Becky,
She's
yes.
tuned in.
Speaking of Ramish wives, I made a vlog with the Empress on Sunday or Saturday. We went to Lyme Reed just to do some promo work for the HR department. Also got a wicked skating as well. I keep getting asked to have more of the missus on camera and more of the behind the scenes stuff.
Well, she is occulted.
Yep. So here you go. See it for everyone to see. Check it out on the other channel. Right, we're selling tickets for the Digital Nomad training pretty well.
Mate, this is popular.
Yeah,
Like,
this is going to be
people
popular.
are into this.
They're available on the website right now. The introduction is £5 to get to know what the course is all about. If it's something that can work for you, learning how to monetize your hobbies, learn how to earn passive income online, and all the good shit like that. I had a meeting with Richard Ryder myself yesterday with some ideas about Rise Above. So where's the link? Here it is. Ra Academy. This is how you get tickets. This is something you guys might be able to use for Sheep Farm as well. The stuff I'm learning from this guy is helping me to streamline Rise Above.
Maybe we could do a witch piss tasting course.
Yeah, I definitely think you could monetize that. Yeah.
Interesting subject matter there, Don.
Yeah,
So
very
if you
much so, mate.
if you want to learn a digital side hustle, how to earn some passive income, something about online trading, if you have got no idea about it, this is the course for you. It's on the 27th of July.
Just scan the Schwab code, guys.
Yeah, the Schwab code is on the screen right now. Okay. Yeah, and obviously, RAsummit. Tickets are available for RAsummit right now. We've also got posters. Is Magic still behind us? No, he's left.
He's
I've
in
got
the green
posters
room.
and flyers. We'll come back to that a little bit later. Yeah, so tickets are available for all the event coming up in September, the 8th to the 10th. Excellent use of the Michael button there. Are you guys around this weekend, 8th to the 10th of September?
God knows.
I'm I know I'm on holiday at the last week or 10 days of the school holidays, so I don't know what days they fall on, but I should be back around that time.
Okay, maybe we'll have
That'd
a
be
chat.
great to have you over in RAsummit, Don.
Because we're trying to do
Chris.
an event that's a bit different for everyone that doesn't like doing the off-grid camping, So this one, it's on concrete. There's electricity.
The showers.
I saw your trailer. Yeah, looks good. Looks nice.
Yeah, well, that's the old infomercial we did at the start there. Yeah, so I've also got these posters. If anyone that's watching would be happy to display a poster, wants to take some flyers, email us at riseabovelivestream at gmail.com and we'll send them out to you. Any help is appreciated to get the word out for the first ever Rise Above Conference Weekender. I'm also really excited to say that we've now got Auntie Coviet's art on T-shirts on the website. Let's get rid of that. Peasant Advisory, Explicit Consent, and the Jabby Dodgers t-shirt. They are available right now. And the profits go directly to the artists. We are supporting our artists here at Rise Above. Big shout to Auntie Coviet. Looking forward to sending you another transfer very soon when we sell some more of these t-shirts. Yeah, and I'm just going to play a quick advert for our other sponsor. I don't know if you've seen this, guys. It's quite good fun. For Zero In and Roots Brands, check this out.
Hi, I'm Double LMC. You probably know me from such productions as Rise Above Live on a Friday night, or the infamous Serco speech. But I'm not here today to warn you about the Soviet Union. I'm here to tell you about an exciting new product from Roots Brands Wellness. It's called Zero In, fully approved by Inspector Veg and the FDA. In each of these organic capsules, it's packed with essential vitamins, minerals and nutraceutical berry extracts plucked from the organic peasant sphere and mixed together in an expert fashion to stimulate and invigorate your meat suit brain. These make your meat suit perform at absolute optimum level. Rise Above simply wouldn't be able to perform at the levels they do without these amazing capsules. 100% made from berries, vegetables, vitamins and minerals, these capsules stimulate the serotonin and dopamine production. They make you feel like a sexual Tyrannosaurus 25 hours a day, 8 days a week, 33 days a month. When I take these tablets in the morning, I feel like I can achieve at least 33% more. If you want to support Rise Above, you can purchase Zero In or other fantastic products from Roots Brands Wellness. Please use the link to support us. Packed with 33 essential ingredients plucked from the organic peasant sphere to nutraceutically boost your peasant meat suit. Get these capsules now, Rise Above.
I'll say it again, mate. That's the best advert I've ever seen. It's the best commercial ever.
People were getting annoyed about us talking about those capsules every week, so I thought, why not just make a cheesy advert so I can just press the button?
Absolutely fucking
But do you know what, though? They're getting quite popular. I've got like this box, I've got another box at work, and we've already got enough of the account to buy another box of these.
Well, let's whip them out,
So
mate.
people are like literally munching through these and getting more productive. I've already had 2 today. I don't need
Maybe
Matt,
we
would
should
you
get
care
Phil-
for a
should get
stimulation
Phil's.
capsule?
Phil from Amish did a bit of a spin-off from what we were talking about, Dragon Dildos, didn't it, Chris, the other day?
Oh yeah, big shout to Irish Inquisition. They're tuned in right now.
The Ramish Inquisition.
What's this about dragon dildos? Please elaborate.
Go on, Chris. Elaborate,
No, you elaborate.
No one wants to talk about
Chris
it.
Well, I mean, you guys brought it up. Come on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I told Dom a story and on one of his podcasts. He just stitched me up, and what it was basically, make sculptures. I was on Etsy where I sell my sculptures, and this dildo popped up, a dragon dildo, and I said to my missus, "Look at this, it's 50 quid." I said, "I could make these. It's the dragon dildo." And me and my missus there looking at them, scrolling through them, and there's comments underneath saying, "I thought it'd be too big, but it's all right," and stuff like that, So we were just laughing about it.
So you've moved on from the ashtray production. No, you've moved on to sex toys, Chris.
No,
I
was saying.
Do you do a gaping gob to go with the dragon dildo?
Wow,
That's what I said,
a gaping dragon dildo.
A dripping gaping gob.
It just sounds absolutely vicious.
I don't make dildos. We were looking at them because they popped up.
Chris
and I
wants
said,
to make it clear he doesn't make dildos.
But then I said to Mrs., maybe I should make these because they go for like 60 quid a pop. And she looked at me and went, I can't be married to a guy who makes dildos.
Well, there you have it, guys. You heard it here first from Rise Above.
And then he showed it.
The Amish guys made a trailer for a sheep farm dildo.
Yeah, they made a trailer for it. So, Phil, if you can send it over now.
Yeah, maybe we can play
If you're
it.
listening, send it over to Lance.
I'd love to see it.
Yeah, send it over to Lance, Phil.
I just need to stop telling
His wife did the voiceover, didn't she, Chris?
Oh, this sounds quality. I'll look forward to seeing that. Speaking of videos, right, here's a good one. There was this guy,
here we go.
this blue tick rapper who when I made this video,
What's kind of a blue tick rapper?
yeah, he's a blue tick rapper.
What does that mean?
He's a rapper. He's got a blue tick on Twitter. Anyway, when I first started commenting on Black Lives Matter, he famously came out and called me a white supremacist and all this crap. Yeah. The guy, his name's Nova Flip, and I called him out. Yeah, and I said, come on the show, and I made a call out video, and he obviously didn't come and debate me. So then I made an expose video about him. Now he got like a couple of thousand hits, but here's the funny thing: he's now started making some podcasts, and he's talking about all like the anti-red pill stuff, and that kind of tip. So he's taken his music off YouTube, so that when people search Nova Flip, they get to his podcasts. Well, guess what happens when you search him now? It just comes up directly with my expose, and I've tried it as well. It's an absolute time bomb.
Excellent.
Like, so now if you type his name into YouTube, the first thing that comes up is my expose of him showing that he had funding from like the Media Trust, which is linked to Open Society Foundation.
So shout out to NovaFlip and fuck you.
I told you not to, Nova Flip, I told you not to mess with me. Look what happens. 12 months down the line, pow, right in the kisser. So anyone tries it, go onto YouTube, type in Nova Flip, see
It's
what
cool
comes
though.
up
He's got
first.
his new Audi from George Soros.
Yeah, he's got a nice new Audi. Okay. We've convened together. Rise Above and Sheep Farm, we're here. I think it's about time we start to, get down to business, as it were.
Are we venturing into clown world?
I think it's only fair we venture into clown world. Are you going to make me press the button?
Yeah, let's get the catalytic converter going.
Now,
Michael.
as painful as it might be to watch that every time.
Shout out to Double L, right? That must have traumatised him somewhat putting that together.
Yeah, it did, but it's also a reminder that is really happening.
Yeah, mate.
That is really going on. Clown world really is.
Whether you like it or not,
whether you
peasants,
like
this
it or
is
not.
reality.
It's really bad. Now, let's just start off with a couple of banging
I don't know what's
memes.
more scary though, the dancers or the parents smiling and laughing at it.
Yeah,
That's the thing. And I like to say, when I made that, like when I cut out the faces of the people in the audience, I didn't take that from separate videos. Those were the actual people in the audience watching those acts.
Enjoying their lives.
Yeah, and
with
they
their
paid,
infant children.
And they paid for those
Enjoying the
tickets.
meal.
It's wholesome family
Children.
fun, ladies and gentlemen.
There's probably a waiting list to get the tickets for that. So popular.
They just need a dragon dildo.
Yeah.
Ka-ching.
Told you there is a market there. Needs to.
There is a market there.
Free gaping gobs at the door.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's plenty of them there.
Now, the weirder and the more crazy, the more perverted and the more debauched the clown world gets, the better the memes seem to get. Now, on the left is like a regular meme that came out of the peasant sphere, and obviously
Was this farmed?
Yeah, that was farmed. That's a free range regular meme.
Free range.
It's got all your favourites on there from Prince Andrew. Now,
So yeah, from the left we've got Prince Andrew, Philip Schofield, we've got Gary Glitter, your boy Jeffrey Epstein, front and centre, Grandmaster Ginny to the right, Rolf Harris, and on the far right, who's that? Who have we got?
it's R. Kelly. Ooh. So maybe
Mate, he's got off lightly in the memes from the Rise Above Memeticians.
he's also got off lightly in the courtroom
He has got
so far.
fucking
hasn't
let off lightly.
he?
Raise the vibration, get to it.
Have you looked into the R. Kelly story at all? Like what all of these? I mean, there's plenty of meat on the bone with all these accusations, but has he been in court or anything like that?
He got done. He got prosecuted, didn't he?
Has
I've
he been
not
to,
looked into him? No.
Has he been to jail?
I think I don't know. He definitely got convicted. I don't know if he's in jail or like on some special deal. I don't know.
Well, I suppose not everyone there went to jail. Gary
I mean,
Glitter.
he can't be that high up, like in the grand scheme of the satanic hierarchy. Is he still alive?
No, that's true. But anyway, that's the meme on the left. On the right-hand side is actually from the Rise Above stable. You can see the difference in quality, yeah?
Absolutely.
So we've still got... Oh, we've got Ghislaine Maxwell. Who else is on there? The Dalai Lama. Bill Cosby. Is that Tim Westwood? I think it is, on the top right.
Yeah. So Matt has just jamied R. Kelly. He's currently serving a 30-year sentence.
Oh, what? I was fucking wrong. Wow. 30 years. Okay. So, yeah, he can't have been too...
And my
high up in
Ramish
the
wife,
hierarchy.
Becky, has to just message me saying Ian Watkins has also got off very lightly.
Who's Ian Watkins?
Another fucking nonce, mate.
Oh, is that the guy out of the band?
Just
That-
another
there's
one of
something
these,
to do with the babies or something.
Some shit, mate.
So what are you saying, Sheep Farm? Do you think there has been an increase in the acceptance of the sort of like nonce agenda in the mainstream media?
100%.
Mate, I sent you the. I don't know. You've probably got it on the Swab show, but like it's Pride Month right now. Is that right? Yeah, we're still in Pride Month.
I believe we're right in the middle of it.
Yeah, right, and slap bang in the middle, which is essentially an extension of the season of sacrifice. Anyway, that's another conversation. The I sent you the meme, didn't I? Or the photograph of the fucking girl lover symbol someone had on like a banner when they were doing a Pride march. So we called it here months ago on Rise Above that sooner or later you're going to have the MAP, the map, the minor attracted person, is like going to be added to the alphabet mafia.
Yeah, but that was.
And they're already parading it around with their fucking banners and, you know, advertisements.
Where does all this go? Where does it go? It's,
if you want to be honest, it goes to trying to make fucking kids acceptable.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are they trying to create Satan's world for his return? Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
As far as I see it, it's all about, like, I think it comes back to the Sabbatai and Frankish thing. It's like, well, that Shabbatai Zevi guy was really talking about was like the inversion of everything. So, like, you know,
anything that's good and wholesome, they need to fuck it up as much as possible.
Yeah, and anything that's debauched and perverse needs to be promoted.
Yeah, let's
and
promote
normalised.
that. Yeah.
And I think in your presentation, Smooth Karamak, you're going to talk a little bit about Yuri Bezmenov, right?
Yeah, well, we'll bring him up because, there's a few bits and bobs that certainly link in with this fact-checking type of organisation.
He called it. He called it.
He did.
And I think that, you know, it's quite interesting that you've chose this fact-checking subject, because when it comes to Clown World, in my opinion, the fact-checkers are playing an integral role in the normalisation of the narrative. Because what we're going to see later is when you go into this, and I'll show you when I got fact-checked by Full Fact, is the way that they go about it is very sly, and it is in a way actually sort of enforcing the narrative while still trying to tell you that you're wrong for pointing out your aspect of it. Should we say?
But
like
then
that?
they'll throw the racist, the bigger, that kind of thing.
Yeah, whichever
throw
is
it all in
flavour
the
of the
same
moment.
pot. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, talking of normalisation, we have spoke, I know, a lot about Philip Schofield in the last couple of weeks. I don't know how much you guys have talked about him, but my prediction seems to be coming true. If so, from what I can see, is that it's going to be said that he basically didn't do anything wrong, and that's part of the normalisation, I think. And as further as we go into, like, you know, now it's fully come out. Yeah, he was having a relationship with this kid, or a young guy, as they're putting it. No one in the mainstream is really saying that you know he was
look at
an
the
abuser.
story there, and in comparison, look at what they're doing to Richard D. Hall.
Yeah,
for bringing up, for asking questions. So this guy, they're saying basically leave off him, and Richard D. Hall, they're going to drag him through the courts. You know, so that tells you a story that they're backing people like this. He's obviously on the inside of something. Whether they just throw him to the wolves eventually, who cares? Because they don't really care about their own, do they? But if you look at the same type of story, I'm not saying Richard D. Hall's the same type of story, but they're making panorama programs about him, or the Light Paper and things like that, and calling them far right.
I mean, you know, if they're throwing out money on programs like Panorama and like mainstream peasant watching,
yes,
then you know they've got an agenda to fulfil.
100%.
It was interesting when he came out, Philip Schofield, though, because even though he had a wife and children, I mean, they probably knew, but everyone was saying, "Oh, poor Philip Schofield," but no one said anything about his wife and kids.
No,
nothing at all. So he was expected just to stand there and smile, basically, because he was being so brave.
Because he was being so brave.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably knew anyway, didn't they, to be fair?
Well, they're talking about his mental health and things like that. But again, like the people have picked on and made a panorama film about, and with, I mean, how much does an hour's worth of BBC panorama cost? Tens of thousands of pounds to make these things in hours. And this sort of research they do, which is nonsense research, and just to make some hit piece on that, yet they haven't made one like that on someone like him and his brother. And that tells us where we are.
And also, it's another mass distraction, isn't it, from what's really going on, I think.
But let's not forget, they always kill more than one bird with the same stone, don't they?
Yes.
It's going to be a distraction ritual, a humiliation ritual. It's going to be like covering some of the normalising pedophilia and all that. Like it's all a multitude. It's all Schwab together in one, as we know.
How long do you reckon it's been planned for?
Well, I would imagine that it's been in the works that they need something at some certain time, but he was just the unlucky fuck that got the.
Do you reckon if this is planned well in advance, do you reckon there might have been any markers ahead of time?
I'm sure there was.
You've just muted yourself.
I'm sure there was. There always is.
Do you reckon there might be? We'll check this out. This is the cover of Radio Times. Now look at the dates up here. 1991. Look at the week, guys. Look at the week. In case you don't know, the 25th to the 31st of May is the exact week where the Philip Schofield
How to
story
Impress
broke.
Your Kids by Philip
bloody hell,
Schofield.
well found.
Yeah. No, this is
That was a
also
cheeky one that I
32
come across.
days.
That's a real one as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Magic's fan is 32 days
Evening, Dom.
to the
Evening,
week.
Magics.
Hello. Oh, hello, Magix. You
Hello.
join us. Put you on camera.
Oh, don't put me on camera.
So,
Get his knob out.
I was asleep.
Yeah.
yeah, we had to get rid of the comfortable chair because Magic used to fall asleep in it.
Yeah, literally the number one sin of a podcast. I actually fell asleep on show.
So, I just want to reiterate here: 32 years to the week, and it's also that this is the preceding week before Pride Month. It's the last week of May. June is Pride Month, right? So this Philip Schofield story that's obviously been there for it's been in our consciousness for 3 years.
Like, if you think about it, has there ever really been any bad press about Philip Schofield over the last?
No, he's literally been the same.
Squeaky clean, right? And then all
nice
of a
guy,
sudden
yeah.
he's just been
Like
fucked up.
what's his name? Cliff Richard.
Cliff Richard.
There you
But
go.
look at what it says there. How to Impress Your Kids
It's crazy,
by
right?
Philip Schofield.
Absolutely insane.
That's a good find, that is.
Yeah.
That come from a drum and bass group that I'm in on WhatsApp. They posted it having a gig.
I wonder if this is part of his initiation into the 33rd degree. Well, it's 32 years.
Is that
I don't know.
Cinderella underneath as well?
Yeah, it is. Cinderella. So then to the right, there's this Raj Singh guy who's
Thunderbird. Yeah.
He's creepy. He's creepy.
Yeah, he's been on this sort of. I think there was another headline with him where he was on he was semi-apologising for someone that was accused of being a paedophile or something.
We got Chris in the building as well. Evening, Chris. Sorry.
Evening, mate. You all right?
Can you not see a screen over there, Matt?
No.
You're looking over my shoulder. So yeah, I mean,
Sinstar Dread just come in the studio as
Sinstar
well.
Dread's here as well, yeah. So I mean, we all know that entertainment and especially TV is infested with these sort of perverse predatorial gimps. But it seems like breakfast TV is especially bad.
Just hanging out at the studio with the resident this morning stood.
What does the one on the right mean? I'm not too clear on that. What does that mean?
Well,
Is the Raj guy? Is he gay?
I believe he's a doctor. Is he a
He
doctor?
is, I've seen him on TV.
Yeah, he was pushing Britney Spears heavily.
Right.
He was in children's programs as well at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah. I think he's been pushing the rainbow in children's programs too.
Yeah.
By coincidence, I flicked the TV on this morning and he was on it, and I immediately thought he looks like a demon, and he was talking about get who he was talking about? He was talking about prostate cancer.
Right.
Which I thought was kind of weird. Yeah, and he's a creepy looking fucker, isn't he?
Yeah, it's
What
all
was
these
he talking
people.
about there?
What on this? He's just saying that he's hanging around with the resident stud at this morning, who is there. I guess at this time the guy he's 16 or 17 years old.
Is that guy? Oh, sorry.
Is that that-
Yeah,
Is that
this is the guy.
guy?
It's Philip Schofield's younger
his toy
boyfriend.
boy.
That's his little toy
Right.
boy.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so maybe I don't know what we're insinuating. He was getting passed around this morning by all the predators. Probably was, but yeah, it seems like a pretty toxic and poisonous place, like morning TV, and Eamon Holmes. Holy shit! I think I mentioned this as well. Eamon Holmes is going
He's going nuts, isn't he?
ham on these people. Yeah. He must be loving it. Obviously, it's all part of the peasant show, but it is funny to see the break in the media. I think we were already starting to see it with GB News and all these apparent alternative media sites, which are obviously controlled opposition.
Well, I did a 20-minute quick
That's right, you did.
dip on GB News. They're all funded by all the same oligarchs who are funding the global climate warming change and what have you.
All the favourites.
But do you
All
think
the favourites, mate.
they're going to be like the right hand is the mainstream media, but they're going to be used as the sly left hand that exposes all the lies and
I
actually
call them-
destroys the
I
old
call them
mainstream media?
Fringe magnets.
Fringe magnets.
They attract the fringe to them. The people that are just ready for jumping over, and they attract them. Oh, that's just edgy enough for me. And
Yeah.
they take them away from people like
And they'll
us,
say,
us guys, you know.
yeah.
Because they're safer with like the fringe magnets, GB News and Talk Radio or whatever. I don't watch LBC and all these other supposedly independent channels.
Centrists.
Yeah.
All spinning the same shit, just on with a different tone of voice, I suppose, aren't they?
Yeah, because
Well,
all they're
that-
going to do is they're going to tell everyone just to vote for the independent party, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to come
When
down
in
to.
fact
at the end of the day.
all roads lead to the same fucking place anyway.
Exactly.
I
like
actually
this
think they've
bollocks
got
now.
their... Go on, sorry, go on, Chris.
No, I'm going to say it's like this bollocks now with the what is it? Arm spear, investigation into Boris Johnson. All that. It's
Oh
just
yeah,
all
Lord
distractions.
Potato Head.
It's all nothing. It's all nothing. And they're not talking about anything that's
I
important.
don't know, they look good when they were jogging. They look good jogging, Chris.
No one's asking the real question: was it all bollocks?
Well, they said it's going to take 3 years just to give the evidence
Yeah.
in the inquiry. That's enough. That's enough time for another pandemic.
I wonder how many people are going to be murked within that time
And all
from
the money
from the
and
original.
time, money,
Yeah, there's a
time
lot
and
dropping
energy,
already, Andy.
You know what I mean? Spent on all that shite, like the 9/11, inquiry. It's just holiday.
Well, it's the same thing, isn't
Tens
it?
of millions and tens of millions.
Set up to fail, as you say, fire.
Set up to fail, yeah. Yeah.
So, were there any other markers about Philip Schofield? Here, win a date with Philip Schofield, smash hits key competition. And then what have we got? What have we got here? Final boarding call, a finale giving session a run for its money.
I wonder what he used to
This.
use Gordon the Gopher for. Was it Gordon the Gopher?
It was good in the gopher, yeah.
Yeah, little hand job gopher.
What about was Ed the Duck Andy Peters?
Yes, mate. Yeah.
well,
Has anyone seen that video edit of Holly Willoughby doing the speech for when he come out gay? They've edited it, and he's like,
Yes, I have.
that's so funny.
Yeah, you put that on our Rise Above
Yeah,
group.
mate.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But they've done Holly Willoughby's voice probably using AI, and it's like, yeah,
so
when
good.
you fucked that boy and left your wife.
It's like we're really
So
sorry
brave.
for accidentally finger banging all them children.
Yeah, naughty.
And Gordon the gopher needs to keep his mouth shut.
I promise we're going to stop talking about Philip Schofield any second after we've just the latest remix.
I mean, we knew this was coming, didn't we?
Yeah, it had to. It had to. Also, this one too, particularly good.
Poor
I
old
love a
Gordon.
remix meme in it.
Poor Gordon feels left out. Phil's new BBC show, Country Paedophile. That's actually really good. This isn't one of ours. This is a free range meme. This is made by a non-Rise Above person.
It's organic.
It's organic,
From the
yeah.
pen-
yeah, just
from the
straight
farm,
out
from the peasants'
at the
fair.
Clanverse. Let me see. Oh, this one's not organic. This one was grown from a seed from my mind.
Yeah.
I said anti-Coviet, right? Philip Schofield is like he's feeding loads of catalyst into the meme machine for people to accept paedophilia. Please, can you make a meme about it? She's like, sure, here you go.
Wow.
An explosion too. A wood chipping machine that's feeding the peasants the normalisation of grooming. Yes.
Excellent rendition of current reality.
People in the comments were astonishing.
Welcome to the world, ladies and gentlemen.
Big shout to JJ Recon. So Philip Schofield. And it sort of brings us into the pride conversation as well, because like I mentioned a minute ago on this pre-peasant programming piece here, this is the week leading up to Pride where they did the Philip Schofield ritual, and then on the 1st of June the rainbow is reeled out. Is it fair to say this year has had more backlash against the rainbow than ever before?
Well, it is 23. It's 33.
No, but I mean, like, people's reaction to it.
Well, it's just another division tactic, isn't it? It's just, it's just again to divide. So who gives a fuck if somebody's gay, trans, bi, lesbian, whatever the fuck
But I
the
think
other letters stand
the
for.
point what I'm getting to, are people starting to realise that this is not just about being gay, bi,
Mate,
or trans?
I saw a video of, I can't remember what I saw on Instagram, I think it was Instagram, of children like 13, 14 years old addressing their teacher saying, look, we know what you're doing. Like, we're not stupid. We can see what you're trying to do, when they were trying to teach all this shit in some school in the States.
Yeah.
So that's encouraging.
The backlash against this has always been wilted quickly by for years by the standard comeback, if you're being homophobic or transphobic, the standard go-to for any NPC or normie is that if you have a problem with the rainbow, you must be hateful.
And you're fucking racist.
But I have, this year is the first year which I'm really starting to see that argument collapse in the normie sphere, shall we say, in the general consensus thought.
So what you're saying is it's actually being accepted.
No, I'm saying that I'm seeing for the first time this year, I think more people are starting to see that there is an agenda
over a grassroots movement
that is way more nefarious than anything about acceptance.
But even if they do you think they're going to actually try and do something about it?
Look what Emma Bridges is saying here. Yes,
People love a party,
Yes, they
though.
are,
People
because
are
all
just
my
gonna
gay
go to
friends
party.
are fed up with the pride. Yeah.
Well, imagine if you're gay, right, and you're seeing all of this, and you're being wise to it, and it's being done in your name and in the name of your sexuality.
Again, like, who gives a fuck? Like, these
Who wants
days,
to talk
like,
about
this is
who's
just another division
sleeping?
tactic.
Who wants to
Go on,
talk about
Chris.
who's sleeping with anyone, whether they're gay or straight or what? Why
that's their own business,
why are
innit?
you
It's
having a
your own
celebration
business.
about who you rattle on an evening? No one cares. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
No one cares.
Yeah, it's not the 1960s anymore.
But it should be a personal thing. It's not everyone else's business what you're up to.
No,
innit?
that's what I mean. You have to wave it around and have a fucking parade.
Pathetic. It's pathetic. All of it's
But
pathetic.
then it's what they're doing. Without that, they probably couldn't tag on all this drag queen shit in schools, could they? Because
don't
it's all
even count-
merged into one, isn't it? So they're doing the more nefarious shit in the name of that. So like, maybe without that, they wouldn't be able to
they're
do all the
using it as
dark
a
shit
shield,
they're
aren't
doing.
They're using it as a
Yeah,
shield.
it's like an umbrella, mate.
I mean, the thing is, right, I don't know
umbrella.
any people I know at my age, in my 50s, who are homophobic anymore.
No.
Maybe
met
my
one. I've never met
our
anyone.
parents maybe were, you know.
Yeah,
Well, our
get the other
parents
person
were. Our mum
in
worked
there.
in a blooming gay club.
That's right, yeah. Our generation changed all that, going clubbing and things like that. Nobody
Yeah.
cares. Racism got changed. Most white people's heroes are black sportsmen or black musicians or something anyway. So, I mean...
And also, everyone knows a half chat or a quarter chat like us. So no one cares.
Wait a minute.
What did you say?
A quarter
Half
chat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I mean, what do you say?
Someone
though?
will slap you around the face with the rainbow for saying stuff like that in the wrong
No,
way.
but what do you say, Lance? You
It's
know
the
what I
letter
mean?
rainbow. Yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to refer to myself as Quartercast. Then all of a sudden, everyone's like, "You can't say that." What am I supposed to say?
I.e., your
Dual heritage,
your
blah, blah, blah.
parents were half caste.
Yeah, as mum was half black, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're 25% black. But I'll tell you something funny actually at work. This is funny to get the youngsters these days. Someone at work said, because I work in a cafe restaurant in the morning, and someone went, "Is that a new brownie?" I said, "No, fuck off. I've been here a year." This girl's all that 18, and I went,
did she
"Why?"
gasp?
Just stared at me.
Quality. The look on their faces.
It's good
Right,
to freak
yes.
out the youngsters these days with things like that.
I don't just think it's youngsters.
You can't be
People...
too serious
Well,
with
everyone's
things.
terrified.
Yeah,
Fat.
yeah,
Everyone,
everyone's
this-
terrified,
and they've got us where they want us because everyone's terrified to say anything about anything. Anything about anybody. I worked in a kitchen a while ago, and the head chef, who was like our age, he came up to me and he goes, "Where the fuck are you from? You're a bit dark." And I went, "I'm sorry, Fat." And I said, "You know what? It's so refreshing. You actually asked me because no one dare ask you either. You know,
Well,
you
it's like the satire thing. Satire and discrimination are separate things. And we've lost the fact at laughing at things, man.
We've spoke about this before, all of us. It's the intent, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let's
you've got to
face it,
laugh
it's the
at
intent,
things.
man.
You have
If
to
intent's
laugh at
bad,
things.
it's bad. It
But
doesn't matter
also,
what you say
what's
to
wrong
people.
with asking? What's wrong with asking someone where they're from? People don't
Yeah,
ask
that as
someone
well,
where they're from
but,
anymore.
yeah.
Someone's got an accent, or they look a little bit different. You say, "Oh, where are you from?" You know, out of interest of the heritage.
What did he
And
say,
people
Chris?
take
Your
a deep
nostrils
breath.
look big. Where are you from?
But it should be interesting. We should want to know where people...
Exactly.
Like,
Weaponized defence. So just before
that
we go,
stops people talking to people. That stops
Well, that's the
communication.
idea, I think,
Because
to be
people are
fair,
scared to just talk to people, honestly.
before we go any further, I just need to point out that Johnny Fogg has just sent in this live meme.
That is
in
pro-
real
Johnny.
time. So here we've got Grandmaster Ginny tucking into the Radio Times
That was back in 1991
with Philip
That's
Schwabfield.
Schwabfield.
Jimmy
Yeah.
probably read that.
He was the editor. So Master Ginny was the editor of that.
He commissioned it, mate.
yeah, yeah.
Rolf Harris was the co-editor.
Thank you, Johnny Fogg. Big up, brother.
Big shout out to Johnny Fogg. That's amazing.
Johnny.
We've got another one incoming as well.
It was there. Let me just get rid of that one. Yeah, keep the memes coming, guys. Remember,
We
tonight-
love it in live time. We love a fresh meme.
Tonight is an interactive show. It is customer services. You can email us. You can call us on Skype. You can ask questions of Dom and Chris or any of the Rise Above team. You can have a rant. You can complain. The forum is open.
Where's Mark?
Spanish chicken just put nostrils of a mass education.
Nostrils. Of Big shout to Spanish chicken. Let's get that on the screen. Love it. All right, what were we talking about? We were talking about Pride, weren't we? I've got to point this one out. In honour of Pride Month, Lego introduces a Sodom and Gomorrah playset.
Wow.
It's not real. It's me.
All right.
Got ya.
It's hard to tell these days.
Can we have it? We need like an egg splat sound for that. When
Yes,
I put out a meme and people
that,
think
that
it's
was
real.
good. You got me. You did get me there.
That's some good photos.
2 glasses of wine, Chris, you're napped. Yeah.
I didn't even have 2 glasses of wine. If I'd had
Lego Pride collection.
Yeah, someone's gone to town on this,
No,
man.
it's really good. I don't know who made it. This was from the
Hey, shout out to people who put mad effort into memes. I made a couple back in the day that literally took me so fucking long. It's insane. That old school one with like all of the world leaders and the Roman stuff. That old school meme.
Oh, for the
That-
Great Reset.
Yeah, mate. That took me hours and hours and hours.
And when
to
you
make
did
that.
the greatest apocalypse ever
Yeah, the
meme with the more
breakdancing,
breakdancing.
that was-
Yeah, that was
proper
mint. That, yeah,
effort,
yeah,
mate.
that was brilliant.
That was all separate breakdancers cut out and put into a stage. Mate, there's a lot of time put into that.
Yeah, I save a lot of time with Al Gore with my memes now. It's good.
Shout out AI.
Yeah, shout to Al Gore. I've got to give him props. So, yeah.
Shout out to Al Gore, but at the same time, fuck you.
No, obviously.
I had a chat to my Snapchat AI today. That was a strange thing. Have any of you done that?
No, I don't have Snapchat.
I don't have Snapchat. I had it installed for ages. I've never used it. And I saw a thing talking about people getting weird shit from their Snapchat AIs. So nowadays, when you go on Snapchat, you get a personal AI that you can name and they speak to you and that. It is the bizarre.
Yeah, that's what I put up on our RA group.
Mate, it's so bizarre. Like, I
I
repeat some of the
compared it
things I
to.
said
Do you
to
remember?
it.
Do you remember clip art?
It's, yeah,
Do you remember clip art? And, yeah, the little paper clip. Yeah, I compared it to that. I was like, this
So
is the
bizarre.
new version of
So-
that, man.
so
you
strange.
get an AI fucking bot that's going to tell you to commit suicide
But no, I won't go
in the
into
name
what
of
I
global
said to
climate
it.
warming change.
Some of the things I said to it.
We need to re-sequester your carbon, comrade.
Yeah, having AI assistants now is quite a
Mate,
strange
that,
thing.
and yeah, but this is for kids, man. Like
Yeah,
kids are
mate,
doing
kids
it. This
on
is
Snapchat.
scary, guys. What do you think about this over at Sheep Farm?
Well, the AI thing.
Well, yeah.
But like having personalised assistants that are AI on like things like Snapchat and that.
Well, I
It's
don't
not-
use Snapchat. I don't use WhatsApp.
Or any social media or
I don't use social
thing,
media.
yeah.
I don't think it's.
No,
really
I don't use Snapchat. I don't even
We're
know.
all on YouTube right now.
Yeah, I use YouTube.
I don't think it's real AI because AI means artificial intelligence. It's not
It is-
intelligence,
it's
is it?
strange,
It's
isn't
it's
it?
data gathering and then it's
Yeah.
reproducing some data. So it's not. It's not
So it's gonna
making.
be taking
Because
these
we
things-
shared an article a few weeks ago when I shared this about a guy that had committed suicide because AI told him to in the name of climate change.
Wow.
Well, he's probably better off where he is, to be fair.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, but this is,
Can't
kids
argue with
are
that.
having like a Snapchat and then getting this kind of advice from their AI
If you
bot.
want- If you want to be a eugenist and thin the herd, I think in that instance, were they far wrong? Unless it was a youngster,
Yeah.
of course.
I think
You're
whatever
right.
we're seeing, whatever's available now, is 10 years old, probably.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
It's bric-a-brac.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be handed down to the peasants.
I had a suspicion, and I might be wrong, but I had a suspicion because I went and once saw Avatar at the cinema. I had a suspicion at the end that some of that was AI because I don't know, some of the imagery looked like the AI imagery, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Some of the
But
stuff
who's to
that's
say
being
that
produced at the
old
moment.
Jimmy Cameron and in years ahead of us, and he's already got film AI where he can. Because I mean, he made that film. A lot of it's underwater with monsters, etc. Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
easier just to put that into an AI generator and generate all those fish and animals and creatures around it?
Well, I'm sure it'd be a lot cheaper for them, yeah.
That's
They
what I
have
mean,
to-
cheaper,
AI
easier,
media
and just to
generators
fill
now,
the gap
that's
of to progress the story from there to there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure by now they can shout it. If we can use it, they've definitely got a better
Oh,
version.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
If you remember, Jimmy Cameron was the first one to come out with the CGI one in Terminator 2. Really, that was like the birth of CGI, as we know.
That CGI is still good now when you look back at it.
Yeah,
mate.
it's not bad,
It's
is it?
really
It's not
good.
terrible.
It's aged well.
Yeah.
Should we move
So
on
he's always
to
been the leader. Yeah.
should we move on to the next segment of the clown world?
Well, I was just going to say there is obviously a commercial side of what's going on, and it's like all of the companies and all of the mega corporations of the parasite use these flags or these color codes, not just for sort of like ritualized virtue signaling. There's also like
branding, isn't it?
well, there's also a commercial element in it as well. It's like they're using it in their advertising to capture people's attention. It's really that simple. So the
Targeted
harvesting,
advertising.
Energy harvesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, energy in many forms: money, time, profit, pure. Energy,
But the whole point
everything.
is, like, on the greater scale, like, these people, they're fucking doing it to themselves. Like, because they're consuming it and they're being caught up in the mind control. They're just doing it to themselves.
Don't
And
you think
also
it's
there's a side to it? If say for instance you're like a really flamboyant, super gay person, I think like flamboyance on both sides is a bit dumb.
What's super gay
Being like-
person?
Like, I mean super gay. Sorry, sorry, that come out wrong. But I think like in the same way, if you're superly overly camp and ridiculous, in the same way as if you're stupidly overly masculine and ridiculous, it's just dumb. But
they're equally, those type of people are equally detestable.
then a lot of people like that, what can they not celebrate themselves? So they should. People are called to celebrate themselves, but it's the corporation and the manipulation side of it.
Well, I don't think
crazy.
anyone would have any problem with Pride as a celebration, as
Yeah.
anyone celebrating anything else, but it's all of the other stuff that's
Yeah, it's
happening
everything that comes
underneath
alongside
it.
of it.
Your story hour with drag queens,
Yeah,
your
everything.
paedophilia, your all. Yeah, all the
You
rest
struggle
of
to
it.
buy pajamas now without a rainbow or a unicorn on it.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to come on to that
For
in
kids,
a
I
second.
mean, for my nipper.
Or Minecraft.
I thought what's interesting is before the Ukraine thing came along, the day when the Soviet Union sort of took a break, before that, we were with the colour programme.
Well,
we're basically
Putin defeated the COVID.
Yeah. He defeated the Soviet Union, the red flag. But before that, right, the two main psyop colours were either, think about it, what's the opposite of a rainbow? It's just black box, isn't it? Just black. What's Black Lives Matter?
Your Saturnian box.
Yeah. So if you think about it, in light terms, if the rainbow is all the light, well, what's no light? It's black. So before that, we were switching between like a season of either the black box or the rainbow, and the program was going on and off. It was almost like the yellow and blue flag of the Ukraine, whatever colour, whatever programming that entails.
IKEA, Aldi, Lidl. Why did Lidl and Aldi have the same colours when they're virtually the same shop?
They
used to be partners.
They're two
Oh,
brothers.
did they? Is that why?
Yeah, they used to be partners.
They're two brothers.
Yeah, and
aren't
then
they?
they fell out and started their own.
Yeah.
system.
Oh, really? Like, is that just a bullshit story? Is that like?
Oh, I don't know, mate. I
Well,
don't know.
I thought
That's
the
what
story
I heard.
was
I mean,
they're
I
like-
don't give a fuck.
I
I
thought
don't
they
think
were
that's.
actual
I
blood
don't think
brothers.
that's.
That's the
But
Nike
even that
computer
aside,
story,
it's-
isn't it? No, the
what
Nike
you
computer.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's probably a lie, isn't it? Let's be
Adidas
honest.
computer.
I looked at the Aldi brothers are quite a well-known family, to be honest with you. And in fairness, Van, what's that woman called? The European president, Von Alberic or whatever she's called. She's called the same name as the Aldi brothers.
Van Abramovic.
I don't know what she called. The lady. Is she the president of EU or whatever it is?
Oh, it sounds like a family that owns a diamond mine. Van, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those names, like a
Yeah, I know
Dutch
what you mean.
Jewish name or something.
She's got
Well, at
that
least
Ursula von der
Margaret
Leyen.
Thatcher
Ursula von der Leyen.
A lot of these colours, when we had Human Vibrations on, and she talked about what colours make you feel. Red. Andy, you know more about this than me. With the red colour and the blue colour, how do they make you feel?
So red is so blue is like, if you look at any news bulletin, generally speaking, the main colour you will see will be blue, because it puts your brain into a susceptible state, so you're more accepting of the information
So what
that's
if
being
you're
given
seeing
to
a
you.
rainbow?
If you're
It's a very
what?
specific blue
If you're
as well,
seeing
isn't it?
all of the colours,
Well,
you're getting
if you're seeing
confused.
red, it's like this is why and red is like an alert. It should like initiate adrenaline and stuff like that. That's why the police use red and blue
Yeah, so
in
if you're
the
getting
American
chucked all
cars.
of the
'Cause
colours at once, is that going to throw you into a state
I
of
would
confusion and
I
things?
haven't personally looked into that. I couldn't answer
Just
that. but-
opens your rabbit hole wide.
Yeah, I
Always
mean
wear the
green. If you
same-
look at the color green, right? Green is if you went out into nature, okay, not a city. If you went out into nature, what's the most color you'll see
green.
is green.
Or
It's
if you
the
look
middle
through,
middle color of the rainbow as well. It's the
Or
most
if you look through
balancing, the most
Zelensky's
centering.
wardrobe as well.
But yeah, the color green is like all the colors. They have a very specific effect on your. On
That
your
blue
so
as
if you're
well,
getting
I've
chucked-
noticed it's the exact same, like that cobalt blue. When the
Yeah, and
nuclear
it
is
just
always
puts
the
you into
same
an
blue,
a susceptive
And the red's
state,
that.
so that you're more accepting to the information being given to you.
So this one here, that's actually like an upside down Ukraine flag with just a pink band on top. Because the Ukraine flag, the yellow's on the bottom, right, isn't it? Yeah.
And if you think about the pygmy who's running with Ukraine, he were dressing up as a tranny as well, weren't he?
Yeah. I'd say this is more magenta, Lance.
It is
Just throw that in
magenta.
there. So you've got magenta with the Ukraine flag. It just means
And
it's
an
complete
inverted
bullshit, doesn't it?
An inverted Ukraine flag with a magenta band of perception on top
Yeah.
of it.
What
Maybe
does
it's a soil.
pansexual mean?
Welcome to Carlisle, ladies and gentlemen.
I think it means like you summon the demon Pan every time you want to have sex with something.
Blow some panpipes.
Makes sense.
Something like that, I don't know.
You had an interesting story about Peter Pan, didn't you, Chris? About the opposite.
What was that?
when
Oh, it wasn't mine.
inverted.
I read it somewhere. Someone had a theory about Peter Pan because obviously Pan is like a demon, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
And the theory, this is not my theory. It was someone's theory I read. I can't remember where I read it. And it was that. So he takes the kids. He kidnaps the kids. So Peter Pan kidnaps a child, takes him to the island where the Lost Boys are. And his theory was maybe Captain Hook is an ex-Lost Boy, because when the kids get to a certain age, Peter Pan disposes of them.
Isn't that in one of the films? He leaves the island and that he grows
I don't
up.
know.
I'm sure
in Hook. Yeah.
Possibly one of the books. Yeah, is it Hook?
Hook. Yeah, it's Hook
So the
with,
reason he's
Robin
older is
Williams.
because he left
Yeah.
the island and he grew up, didn't he?
But that was like
Or
that
escaped.
was Spielberg made that. That was like in the actual original book. Pan's the
Oh,
main
wait
guy,
a minute.
Peter
I've
Pan's
heard
the
about
main
this
guy.
theory. The Empress was telling me about this, that basically like Peter Pan is some sort of like
Paedophile.
Philip
paedophile
Schofield, yeah.
who steals children.
Yeah, and Hook
Yeah,
Comes
who
in
take-
through the window at night.
who promises them eternal life.
But also,
Exactly.
if you
I
never
think
grow
in the
up,
book-
you never evolve.
I think in the
Holy
book, as
shit.
soon as they get to a certain age, he disposes of them. And the theory was that Hook and his guys were the guys that got away, and they continue to grow up.
Oh wow.
I haven't heard this, so I'll get my Pizzagate team onto this.
It was a theory. I mean, he
That's
rang true to
interesting.
me. I don't know.
Have you heard the dark theory about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
A few.
I read one. I mean, I don't know whether it's a theory or like a fan version, but it was something like basically like the Willy Wonka is basically sort of like a billionaire philanthropist chocolate guru, right?
Full-on rapist.
A full-on rapist. So like, if he's sort of like a Bill Gates character, but in the world of confectionery, what? So everyone eats his chocolate. He's got the number one monopoly, and he gives out golden codes to attract children into his warehouse that no one is ever allowed into, and no one ever comes out of. Basically, think about it. Think what happens. It actually happens in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
And what era
Every
was that
single
made?
child
What era was
perishes.
that?
An allegory. It's an
Every single
allegorical story for fucking
They don't
disappearing
actually
children.
perish, but they get very close to perishing. Because I remember
Yeah,
even
or
as a
they
kid
get
watching the
taken
original
away.
one and thinking, those kids are nearly getting killed, and he don't give a shit.
Then they just like washed out like the waste pipe or something. But then at the end, when
shrunk one of them. Getting,
yeah, he gets shrunk. But so at the end, when he finally gets his hands on Charlie, and sort of like abducts him and kills his family, they say, "Oh, put the memory wipe serum in the chocolate so everyone forgets, and then send out another load of golden tickets. We'll do it again."
just let me read
And it was
this
like a
for you now.
cycle.
Yeah. Harvesting.
Yeah.
What era would that have been made? So who was doing things at that
Probably
time?
made in 1933.
Yeah, but it's based on the book, isn't it? The
You
book.
forget the film. The
book
book
was
Roald
probably
Dahl.
fucking it well old.
The book.
Listen to this. Dahl was a intelligence officer.
Roald Dahl.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was an occultist.
Yeah, he was an occultist and an intelligence officer in the Army/RAF.
So he's a bit like an L. Ron Hubbard sort of geezer, right? But instead of writing science fiction and creating a weird religion, he wrote loads of kids' books with like creepy drawings. The kids got eaten in them and stuff like, didn't they?
Do you remember
Yeah,
Tales of the
Matilda's
Unexpected?
dark.
He used to
Matilda's
write
dark. Like the original
As we're
book of
finding with a lot of these
Matilda.
authors during this Huxley's Brave New World Order research, people like Lewis Carroll, for argument's sake, who took pictures of young kids. He was an early photographer, and he took pictures of young kids. He took a picture of Aldous Huxley's mother, Julia Arnold, when she was a child with a sister, and people started avoiding him because of his attraction to young girls. And so you've got this running through the whole cortex. A lot of these authors that we found, even Lewis Carroll that came up.
But then it
the other
evolves
day.
from the authors to the child entertainers of our childhood.
Yes. But isn't it strange that a lot of the books that were written in the 1800s or 19th century, early 20th century, are still used today?
Oh yeah.
There's no new books that are as famous as that.
It's almost like there was a period of like 25 years to 50 years directly
think
after
that was-
1850, and everything that's written then is canon for like
talking of a
hundreds of years
reset
going
one?
But
forward.
you think about it, they didn't have.
It was
the-
1902.
They didn't have that. That was their top technology, the way to get out to the peasants, wasn't it? Was books
Yes.
and
Yeah.
literature. They didn't have the internet. They didn't
Yeah, so
have.
it's evolved now to child
And
entertainment.
if you
exactly,
think-
yeah. So
morning
that's why no
shows and-
books are being written by these occultists and people.
And if
like
you
that,
think
because
about
they're
it,
using other forms of media.
All the modern NGOs, or what you call there, the Cadbury family, Roundtree, all these people were funding teaching kids to read.
Yeah,
Because that were like people like
because
just been talking about the
was
AI,
the way
they're
they
teaching
will
kids to
take
use
up
AI.
the information. yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
The Roundtrees.
Does anyone
invented
does
this
anyone
down the
remember
road
that?
from us.
Does anyone remember that clip, that old YouTube clip? And it was of Gary Glitter, and he was on This Is Your Life. And Sophie Dahl came out, she's related to Roald Dahl. And she says, do you remember we used to come to your house, Gary? And he goes like that and does the shush sign. Do you remember that? It was like an old YouTube clip. And he sat there, doing the This Is Your Life thing. Sophie Dahl comes out and he's like, they're having a talk about, and she says, yeah, we used to come down to your house when we were kids. And he just does the fucking, and then it cuts away.
A little Jimmy moment, a little slip
Yeah.
of Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, Gary. Funny that Gary Glitter's slang for.
Yeah, it's a funny old world, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Speaking of being a funny old world, right? And I like where we're going with this tonight because we're taking our time. We need to act fast. Disney Plus green lights
Sophie's
a
mum,
new
it
show.
was.
Sorry.
Anti-COVID just said it was Sophie's mum, not Sophie Dahl. Sorry, yeah. You're
Oh
right.
right, okay. Sophie Dahl's mum.
Tessa Dahl, someone's put. Yeah.
Anti-COVID with the fact checking. That's the
Yeah,
kind of fact checking that we like.
That's real fact checking.
Yeah.
Michael.
So Disney has green lighted a new show about a girl falling in love with the devil. The family-friendly,
As you do.
Yeah.
Why not?
Family-friendly entertainment organisation Movie Guide is sounding the alarm about a new campaign against an upcoming Disney Plus feature that has a teenage girl's love affair with Satan.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a more wholesome family entertainment right there from Disney.
But isn't that a rehash of old things, though, really? I couldn't name something right off
Yeah,
the
but
top
this
of my
is just
head,
another
but-
form of mind control, and they're like depicting Satan as like the Christian devil, blah blah blah, when it's nothing to do with that in real. It's just more bullshit from the Soviet Union, essentially, from their Hollywood branch.
I had a couple of.
If you
Go
took
on.
someone from the 70s and you fast forwarded them to now, and they turned the TV on and just saw Eurovision Song Contest, they'd think they were in hell. Isn't it? Are we building hell? You know,
It's so
I
bizarre.
have this vision sometimes that like the actual devil is just going to turn up, go through town in his limo, and he's like, "Well done, guys, you're doing a good job here." Yeah.
No one
Got it
even
all-
care.
Yeah.
Got it all ready for me to arrive. Brilliant.
No one would even notice.
One really good meme I saw the other day was I think I'm trying to get this right. It was a meme of like 19th century freak show performers, and they were being shown on a screen. Like it was a time travel meme. They were being shown on a screen like reality TV from today.
Okay,
And they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
fuck. They were just like hanging up their freak costumes. They're like, shit. Now
This is-
everyone's in the freak show.
This is the norm.
Yeah. Well, they say that like the fat man from the freak show in the 1900s, he's just a regular man walking down the street.
Yeah.
Just a normal bloke down the high street.
Skinny
Like the guy
fucker.
yeah, you would
Yeah, the
pay to
man
see
with-
someone that fat back in the day.
The man with titties and a wang is just.
Well, yeah, that's what came up with the thing. Who won the Eurovision Song Contest? The fucking bearded lady from Israel. Was it Iran?
Fucking Ukraine, isn't it?
I think it was Iranian. What's it called? It's called Conchita Wurst. I think we've mentioned this before. It's even got the name sausage in her name.
Oh,
Wurst.
brilliant.
It's like they're not mucking about. So the left is a meme from Auntie Koviet. God, is that
She's
Jeffrey
such a
Dahmer?
savage.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
She is such a savage.
She's savage.
And then on the right is Pfizer's actual profile picture. I think this was on June the 1st. I screenshotted this.
See, look how many colours are in that profile. But on the right, the Pfizer one,
Yeah.
it's just confusion. If you look at colours to what they produce to your energy and like
11
emotion,
colours.
That's a lot of shit going on in one little circle.
Actually, there's 13
Why has it got
colours.
those new colours in there? Is that because
Yeah.
they did the Pride colours, and then Black Lives Matter said you need some brown and black in there? Why
Yeah.
has it now got that like triangle in it?
as far as
It's from since Black Lives Matter.
it's
Is that
about
what it is?
That's
trans,
what has
I was
triggered
joking.
all this more
Right.
bullshit.
but it's about trans black queer as well. That's what the triangle.
Yeah,
about or
but I mean,
something.
since Black Lives Matter, that's when this has gone up.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that
but-
was the catalyst to get it up there.
escalated.
But I
since
think
then.
the pink and the brown line, because obviously if it's Black Lives Matter, it'd just be like black. But I think the pink and the blue line and the brown line is something else. They had to swap a little extra.
Is the green for leprechauns?
The
What's
green's
green
part
for?
of the original Rainbow Mafia. The green
What
was
about Greta's
Also, who's
colour?
blue?
Where's Greta's
Who's-
colour?
Who's blue here?
Who's white?
Who's blue?
I don't know.
I'm actually more concerned about who the baby blue is and the baby pink.
Yeah. We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
We'll find out. So
We're watching you,
Oh wow,
motherfuckers.
that Adidas one, eh?
I don't know which costume to choose.
Yeah, I've seen a few of these rich
the latest
steamy
update is that the parent company of Bud Light have lost apparently $26 billion now.
It's not
$26
about money,
billion.
though, Lance, is it? It's not about money. I don't
They
think
don't care.
No,
They closed the whole
no.
world down, didn't they? They don't give a
No,
shit.
but what I'm saying is, it's like this stuff also has another aspect to it, and I think it's
26 billion, yeah?
yeah,
2 sixes.
2 6s. I think it's part of the Great Reset because it's blatantly being used to crash companies. For instance, we already covered this months ago, or at least a
Some
month
of
ago.
these corporations might not be on board with the full thing.
Well, those
Well, maybe they're the
that
ones
bank
that are getting
went
crashed.
down. That bank that went down in
Exactly.
Silicon Valley was one of the major funders of Black Lives Matter. They gave them tens of millions to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, but I think that's been. Are they still doing Black Lives Matter? Is that still trendy?
no, it's gone bankrupt now.
No, that's what I mean. They're done with it.
They've
Mate. They washed their
that
hands of it.
operation
Yeah,
is
move
over.
on.
That
yeah, yeah.
operation's done.
That's it. Clean.
No,
Yeah, but the thing
now
is,
it's
they can
Rainbow.
tell us what they want behind the scenes. Are their own handshakes.
A quick
So
question.
now, I mean, all right, I'll make a little prediction now that the LGBT mafia, alphabet mafia, and rainbow bullshit. That's the new Black Lives Matter. Currently, that's the new trend.
But if
Do we think there's just one force running all this, or do we think there's several entities, or call them entities, whatever, that not as in beings, but more like
I'm saying there's
corporations?
one ultimate goal with different factions of
Bloodlines.
bloodlines. Well, yeah, some working together, some working against,
in
some
my
with
opi-
other.
in my opinion, it's one faction that's playing both sides with this stuff.
But they all ultimately lead to the same place.
yeah.
the DuPont families are really. I don't know if Dom and Chris, have you ever looked into the DuPont family?
I haven't looked into them, but I know
It's a really interesting one because to me it seems like they fell out with everyone, and they were eradicated in a way. But they still exist. They're still a huge company. But if you look into like the West Virginia things that the DuPont company did with Teflon and things like that, I recommend you have a good dig into that. It's a really interesting because it's one of the original Roman bloodlines,
Because I bring this up.
and
I
it
brought-
looks like they
Springmeister
fucked
did.
up.
I brought this up a few times on the show. Are the original, the pre-video, the advert for Rise Above before we did show one. You said in there are warring factions.
Factions. It's all
Don't-
about
yeah.
factions. Humans are complicated, and like even people who are given power, they can't be left to just be part of a team. Someone's gonna fuck about in there and do dumb shit, and someone's gonna try and get one above their next person next to them, and that's just how people act.
I guess
they're
the
all
question.
rats in a barrel, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
The question I'm
But also,
not
can you
gonna ask
imagine
is-
can you imagine the level of their egos? I mean,
Yeah,
people
mate.
to
Imagine
run the
people who are
world,
given
and
that
you say
amount
you're
of
picture
power.
them.
Don't forget.
Yeah,
Don't forget. I
imagine-
mean, the actual structure of it is you've got the dark Luciferians right at the top, and all that they won't physically do anything because they know about natural law and karma, or whatever you want to call it. They're the ones that put out a worldview to the Satanists, to your politicians, to your bankers, all of those peasants, the gophers, whatever you want to call them. And they're the ones then that spew it down to the order followers, police and military, to actually put it into. So it's it's
yeah.
pretty much a three-tiered system.
We do.
But what I'm asking
Where
is,
was
what
do
is,
it
Chris
what's the
themselves, don't
point?
they?
What is the point? Are they trying to normalise this, or are they using it as a weapon to destroy the economy?
Confusion.
But I'd say both, mate. It's always.
But those are two different objectives.
But if we're all arguing about this shit, then none of the important shit gets fucking.
don't
even
forget,
looked
the
at.
more in poverty the peasantry get, the easier they are to control.
And distracted.
So when you're and distracted
we're
at the
looking
same
at this
time, yeah.
shit, when what? This shit ain't important.
But it is important if you've got a kid.
Yes, yeah, I
That's
agree.
the thing.
But the thing is-
If your kid has come home and they've been told and they've been groomed into being another gender and they're like 6 years old, because this has already happened in this country. We covered this story a few weeks ago.
Could you imagine if someone like Ramesh Dave, shout out to Dave, if like one of these teachers tried to pull this shit
But
with one
look
of
how
his kids?
blatant this is.
Could you imagine?
They've hired a trans Satanist to design the kids' Pride collection. then it's so obviously in your face now. I'm starting to question whether this is actually in an effort to normalise this, or it's actually weaponised. It's actually being weaponised against the economy that they're trying to crash.
Yeah.
When I said not important, that was the wrong word. It is important, but it's something that shouldn't be important.
Well, it wouldn't be important if they weren't trying to push crap like this in people's face when they're kids.
That's what I mean. Nobody actually gives a fuck.
But nobody asked for this, did they?
No, that's what I'm saying. Nobody. You know.
There's no. What I'm trying to say is there's no market for this.
No.
They're not selling this stuff to people.
No, but the whole point is that all these, I'll use the word woke, all these fucking woke, trendy, I hate to put a political stick on it, but like far left fucking woke people,
Right.
they want to be seen as like accepting and trendy. So if they don't accept it, what's spewed out from the state,
I understand what you're trying to say. Those are the people that we get to see on TV, but I honestly think that they're a very vocal and very visualized minority.
Yeah, I think it's a minority.
I don't think that any of this stuff is a financial
minority of a
good
minority,
move.
to be fair.
Yeah, minority.
Think about it like this. Before the go on.
No, I'm going to just say those crazy conspiracy theorists used to have to hunt this stuff down. Like that image there, you know, you'd have to hunt it down and it wouldn't be quite as blatant. So, I mean, these fuckers are putting us out of work, man. We don't.
If we rewind the clock 5
anymore, isn't
the plate.
If we rewind the clock 5 or maybe 10 years, right, anything that was happening in the mainstream media that was being used to push the agenda, to pre-program us, to manufacture consent, to do whatever, they had one common denominator. It was also massively financially successful. So they were creaming millions of dollars off it while also unlaying the agenda 10, 20 years in advance, pre-programming, planting the seeds. What I'm trying to say is that now there's something very different going on, because there's no way that...
It's different tactics that
We
they
don't care
use.
about the
balloon,
financial.
didn't they? The seeds
You don't
are
care about the financial angle of it. It's like with films, you know, you see so much programming in films and they become so shitey, but you can see they can't care about actually making money from the film. The agenda's more.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say it was more important to brainwash the public than to
like
make
the Bud
money
White,
from it.
like the Bud Light thing, and I think North Face did one as well.
Because don't forget, all of these companies are pretty much owned by the same group of people, aren't they? Like when it comes down to it, when you really look, I know everyone's taking their little cut, like as each layer it goes, but they're pretty much owned by the same.
Well, if all these companies have got debt, they're owned by the people that own money.
Yeah.
Simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because anybody who has debt against a item is owned by the person that owns the debt.
The state.
Well, could it be
State,
fair
the
to
Bank of
say?
England.
Would it be fair to say then that these aspects of the agenda, which are clearly the opposite of financially viable, potentially these are being pushed by the faction of the global elite who have actually ceased their investment in the current economy and have put all of their eggs in the basket of the coming economy, whether it's the CBDC, whether it's
Because they know that's what's coming down the pipeline.
or that's what
stopped
they've banked
being
on.
So worried about it, and they're just balls to the wall now.
I would say that's a fair assumption, because at the
We're
end of
trying
the-
to get in ahead of other people with what's coming.
Well, I think with the push of this misinformation, disinformation, fact-checking nonsense that they're pushing shows how worried they are as well. Because Chris keeps saying that these lot are circling the drain, and they're very worried about people like us, Mark Devlin, you guys, and people who talk like we are, you know, openly talk about. Like, go back to 2020, we expected being pulled out of his houses, didn't we? We thought we were going to go down, and but we weren't going to back down. And there's millions of us, and they're worried about.
We were just the loud ones.
For the first time, a minority is being picked on and called bullies, which is an odd state of affairs, really. And so I agree with you, Lance. They are trying to change the system, and we're at the brunt end of it now. That's why the collapse. That's why they're undermining. At my young'un's school, it's Pride Week this week. You know, and all the kids, all the lads are taking. All the lads, you can imagine a load of lads, early teens, are just basically saying it's nonsense.
Yeah,
they're all kicking off. Yeah.
See, that's encouraging.
The blokes, you know,
That's
That is
somewhat
encouraging.
encouraging.
yeah.
That is encouraging.
You know, it's blokes. But I when I first heard about it, I thought, right, I'm taking him out of school. Then I thought, no, he's got to experience this. He's got to see it for nonsense.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, this is a great teacher of
Education.
discernment,
100%, mate.
isn't it?
Yeah. 100%. And these young kids don't care. They don't care if somebody's gay or not. They just know they're not.
No, that's what I mean.
And
Like, nobody actually gives a fuck.
They don't care.
They've
They don't
already
care,
been
man.
born into a world where being homophobic or anti-gay was completely unacceptable
this
from the
isn't-
earliest time that they would ever even know
we
what a
don't
gay
live
person was.
in
So-
certain places in the Middle East where you still get like literally executed for being a homosexual. Do you know what I mean, it's just not the case now.
No.
Do you know what
Well,
I
even that
find
was a
funny
cover.
though?
The people doing the executing were probably gay themselves.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That's the madness about it all.
Do you know what I find funny? How they've coupled together, right? Being gay or homosexual and dressing like a fucking Thundercat with a dildo hanging off it. It's two different things, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, and
You know what I
also,
It's a great observation,
you don't
Chris.
walk around in a fucking Thundercat wig, do you, with makeup on, swinging your knob around.
and what they've also done, which is very
you
strange,
fall in love with the same sex. That's all that happens.
they've also
I've made
managed
it into
to
his picture. Sorry.
schwab together the idea of trans people with drag queens, right? Because drag is actually it's an art form. It usually involves mimicry,
Pantomime.
comedy.
It was
Les Dawson.
it's somewhat reminiscent to pantomime.
Yeah, and guys that do drag, although they are obviously predominantly gay, they don't wear women's clothes during the day. It's an act.
Yeah, it's a character.
So why are there these drag people?
Because this is again like what I said. They're attaching on their agenda to it's like the rainbow, where they're now going to attach on the MAP, like the minor attracted people, because without the initial drag queen, they can't get the agenda across, because that's what they're attaching it onto.
It's all definitely deliberate confusion, and
Also, it's they're all. How come they're all men dressed as women dancing around at these schools?
I
They're
brought
not.
this up. I brought this up to my mate the other day. It's hardly ever women dressed as men.
they're called drag kings.
Yeah, but that's not pushed or promoted. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but
There's no
it's
market,
not,
the kids don't
yeah,
like it
that's
so
what I'm
much.
saying. Like, it's fucking weird, man.
They
is
tried it
weird.
once, but the kids
Yeah,
complained.
very
So
weird.
again, if we're on this woke, trendy, everyone's accepted. Like, why aren't there people kicking off because it's not equal rights? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, 100%. And meanwhile, birth rates are falling, population's falling. Behind the scenes, it's children of men, and nobody
part
seems
two
to
of
give
it,
a shit. Yeah, nobody wants to discuss anything else. They're just interested in pride, Boris Johnson running around in his stupid Bermuda shorts, etc., etc. Nobody's interested.
Again,
They just
it's
watch
like,
the clown show.
People are under just full mind control at this point. Like,
But don't worry,
I've
it's-
driven past when I've been doing jobs. I've driven past people's driveways and they've got fucking thingy flags flying, the rainbow flag flying.
Yeah.
And like, I guarantee before that they would have had a Ukraine flag up there.
Yeah, and before that, it'd have been an NHS.
Yeah, and
banging
when
your pots
the
and
Queen
pans.
the Queen allegedly died, they would have had a Union Jack up there at half
Yeah.
mast.
There's
You know what I mean?
still a big house, and it's a gable end house. It's fucking huge. I drive past every day, and they've made it themselves a massive sign that's got a rainbow behind it, and it says NHS key workers on it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Mate,
it's
I've
about
seen-
10 foot
There's
wide.
loads of lorries still cruising around on the road with I Heart the NHS on and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Like all over the place, I see it still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you actually look at it, right, I might get this slightly wrong, but that everyone should get the gist. Basically, I think that the colours of the chakras, I'm not sure if this is correct. The colours of the chakras have been inverted for the rainbow agenda.
I think the rainbow is upside down compared to
Yeah.
the actual light. And yeah.
Well, I read an article, like, it was something about that. It's related. They've basically got the colours of the chakras, which are wholesome and organic.
I mean,
and
I
natural,
struggle
and
to
literally
think.
flipped it round.
It reminds me of the John Wayne Gacy clown.
I might be
scenario.
wrong on that, guys, so don't pull me up on it in the chat.
Yeah.
But,
There's
there's
the drag queens remind me
333
of
people tuned in currently.
marvelous.
Go on.
I said the drag queens remind me of the John Wayne Gacy clown. I can't believe anybody can watch them and think that's suitable for young children at school to learn about. I just can't. That's a part that I struggle with, really. How those parents on that video can actually watch that and think, "Oh, I'm going to take my 4-year-old to watch these."
Yeah, and like we showed on the show, they don't to bring them into the school. You have to book the tickets and take.
But
your
imagine,
child.
Lance, right? Imagine if somebody got a load of, I don't know, page 3 girls prancing around in front of children. What would happen?
I wouldn't have minded that at school, to be fair.
No, I wouldn't. But or Chippendales, for argument's sake. Yeah. What,
Yeah.
I have. I've just had a look. The colours of the chakras and the pride flag are completely inverted.
Does that surprise us anymore?
No, no, no.
It just doesn't. I know. It's just every time you look. That's what I find when I do some research. Every time I look, you lift that manhole up and you uncover what you thought and more.
Exactly what you expect.
You thought this can't be true. This can't be true. Fucking hell, it's true.
It's truer than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah. It's yeah. So somebody asked me if George, because the next few podcasts we're doing about George Orwell, the next Huxley's Brave New World Order, and somebody said because he's called Eric Blair, is he related to Tony Blair? And the answer to that is no. But when you look at Tony Blair's lineage, and he goes from his father were adopted, and his mother, her lineage goes all the way back to Charles. Is it King Charles in Scotland and Charlemagne? All the way back to that, and you look at every lineage always goes back to someone of distinction.
Yeah, it's super predictable. Who just sent you this?
Becky just sent me this. My Ramesh wife.
Ra wife.
Yeah, Ra wife. Yeah. So we go. Look.
Trans. Someone else, I think it was Baz's Ra wife, sent me. He wanted a truck on the back. It just said 33666 on the back, and those were the only numbers. It wasn't on the number plate either. Classic.
I think the Huxleys were married into the Stobarts, if I remember rightly, part of my research.
So it's absolutely confirmed you were correct about the rainbow being a
Yeah, mate. Yeah. The colours of the chakra, which are wholesome and ancient, and they've literally got the colour, the LGBTQ bar best.
Well, that won't be tuning into alt, will it, Andy?
Yeah. So again, they've just got everything that's sacred and wholesome and just turned it upside down.
So yeah, what's this? I've got here more Disney. Parents defend Nick the Fairy's godmother apprentice at Disneyland after a viral
that's just
video.
disgusting, isn't it?
It's why
insane.
Must that be?
I don't know how these people aren't getting headbutted by alpha males with their family. I honestly don't.
That would be all over the press.
I can't see how this is being so accepted. Everyone's such a pussy, man. Honestly.
Woke madness as GP surgery ask parents if their baby is trans or non-binary.
Again, like.
Just punch you in your throat or your nose.
Yeah, just something like, come on. Could you imagine if somebody asked you that?
Headbutt or elbow?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if
what
somebody
would you do?
asked you that?
I'm not I don't know what you do. You swear at least, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, just at the Militants football do tonight, and one of the women that were there said it's red hot in here. We're red hot in this place we were at, and she said it's no good for this for a woman going through the change. Through the menopause. I said, what about blokes going through the menopause? She said, shut up, blokes can't. I said, yeah, they can. So we were having a mad conversation about
I love doing that.
Yeah.
I love playing that game and sticking up for the current thing and going, what, are you some sort of bigot?
It's like you're catching them out of their own game. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But this lady were having none of, she were having none of it. So they were a good test to see where people's plimsoll line were, if you like. That she were pushing back, saying it's only women that can go through the menopause. But this is where we are.
Well, a lot of this is an attack on.
However, Dom, men can have babies, right?
Oh yeah, of course they can. Yeah.
But they can't go through the menopause. Right, I was just checking, making sure I had it in my head.
Confirm we did have 333 people tuned in a minute ago. Nice screenshot. Thanks for that, producer Matt.
It is it's an attack on women and womanhood, isn't it? Saying that men can have babies and produce milk.
How insulting is that
very insulting
to women?
Do you know, going back just before my daughter was born, she was born, and I was listening to a radio show, and it had a guy on there saying how, and this whole like half an hour stint on, I think it was Radio 2, was about how traumatised he was because he saw his wife give birth. Right. Fair enough, it is traumatising to see a birth, but definitely more traumatising for who's giving birth. But they didn't even interview his missus. It was just this guy moaning on his mental health had gone mad because he saw his child be born. I mean, it is pretty traumatic. I saw my child be born.
I had to get gas and air me.
I know.
I'm ready for passing out right when my little one were born. And my wife looked over after she'd given birth, said, "What fucking use are you?"
They're all around you, weren't they?
Your time's up.
Nurses around me, you're right.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy stuff, but you wouldn't argue the fact that your missus definitely went through a worse, harder situation than you did.
Oh no, it was terrible for me.
This fellow was saying, he had to have counselling. His mental health was all over. Didn't even talk to his missus. Women have done this for years. We've hijacked giving birth, even.
Yeah, it's been hijacked.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Again, anything that's wholesome and organic.
We were brought up on a farm,
gotta
and
fuck with it.
animals just have birth, give birth to other animals to give their young, and nobody watches them. They just give birth. End of.
Yeah. They just get on with it.
Just get on with it, man.
One's a bit
We need
dodgy.
6 nurses, doctors, hospitals. Yeah.
They don't have anybody like popping up and asking if the calf is non-binary or trans.
Yeah, Johnny Fogg's just said here about we were talking about the guy who was breastfeeding the baby, and he had a milk bottle filled with this white liquid, and they said it was a milk-like substance coming out of his breast.
Oh, what? So he was wearing like a strap-on breast?
No. Just, apparently, because of the hormone change, a
what?
milk-like substance was coming out of his breast.
Stop! No.
I'm not. Well, that's
Wait. So, okay, let's just break this down. What? So you're saying that?
No, we're not saying.
Well, some white substance is coming out of his thing. But wait
out
a
of his
minute.
nipples, yeah.
But there's no treatment that can give you milk.
It wasn't
producing.
milk. It wasn't milk. There was
You said
something
milk-like
was happening.
substance.
So they were giving it to the baby.
Well, whether I don't know, but
Skirt
that's what they
around
were
it,
making
kinda
out
skirt
in the
around it,
newspaper. Yeah, somebody sent it me. I think it was Lorraine.
Yeah, he had the guy like that,
Because
didn't he, Dom? And he basically had a baby.
Basic-
Then he had a bottle with
A
some
hairy
milk in
chest,
it.
yeah.
Feeding the baby like man pus.
And it didn't. Yeah, man pus. That's what we called it. It was milk-like substance.
So you're going to feed
Wow.
that ticket, are you?
Milk flavored substitute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Powdered milk flavored substitute. Yeah.
We're in hell.
Again, it's probably about as nutritionally valuable as Nestle baby formula, I guess. Right. Okay. Let's move on from the Rainbow Clan world and let's have a look at the aftermath of the Soviet Union.
Has he actually turned up, Jamie Foxx? Has he come back? Yeah.
Has he?
No, I just had a feeling. You know when they were saying all this stuff had happened to him? I had a feeling maybe he was going to actually reappear just to make the conspiratorial version of events look ridiculous. But he hasn't reappeared yet, has he?
Not that I know of. No.
No.
I mean, because
I might be wrong. That's just my conspiracy.
I could be wrong. Can anybody fact check this real time? Seeing as we're fact checking Clown World, and we will get onto your presentation in a sec, Dom.
It's all right. I'm enjoying this.
Well, it's given a bit of context as to why these fact checkers have popped up. So there's been like whispers about Jamie Foxx was a victim of Britney Spears for a little while. For anyone that's new to the show, you don't know what that means. Britney Spears is a euphemism for the arm spear, aka Lord Schwab's special juice, right? So, but it's sort of like it hasn't been confirmed in the mainstream media, but the word on the street from more than one source is that he's like been blind or paralyzed or something really bad. Shocking revelation: the blood clot in his brain caused him to, at that point, to be partially paralyzed and blind. Maybe it was not permanent, but no, I don't think he's resurfaced. Does anyone know if it's different?
I don't think he has either.
No, I don't think he has.
In fairness, the lamestream legacy media hasn't said anything about it. Any article someone sent me, and I know you guys probably see more than I do, but they haven't mentioned anything about, just say Jamie Foxx is in hospital, that's it. But this has been going on for about, what, is it 2.5, 3 months nearly now with him?
Okay, so Matt has just got the Independent up, and it's saying there's a report from the 9th of May, which is basically 5 weeks ago, and his friends and family were allegedly saying that he was going in for, he was recovering, but they're hoping for the best but preparing for the worst, which doesn't sound very good, does it?
Well, I heard a doctor saying that his patients, when they go into hospital after having a stroke, for argument's sake, or something like this, that within the first 2 weeks, they're either coming out straight away or that's it, they're totally goosed. And a friend of mine, his father's just had a stroke about 12 weeks ago, and he's still in hospital, so you can see how bad he is. And again, all sadly fully Britain went against any sort of anti-COVID advice.
I like his dressing gown.
Yeah.
I'd rock that dressing gown. It's nice. It's struggle to find a nice dressing gown these days.
Yeah, that looks like a very expensive dressing gown.
Let's face it, if he were all right, he'd be in front of the camera as an actor at the end of the day, wouldn't he? He'd be there saying, I'm all right. Don't worry about me. This is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. Why isn't he releasing a statement why wouldn't he do that, you know? Why wouldn't he do it? There's no reason for him not to do that, is there?
I think one of his family members said he were all right.
Well, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a Hollywood actor worth hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever he's worth don't know how to stand in front of a camera and say he's all right.
He would,
Mate,
if
Jamie
if he
Foxx
was
is-
all right, he would need to be in front of the camera to keep his share price up.
Mate, Jamie Foxx is the new Will Smith.
Yeah. He's much better than Will Smith.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's like the new
Macho Will
forefront
Smith.
African American.
He's a better actor than Will Smith.
Better actor, better charisma, 100%.
Probably a better rapper as well.
Yeah, probably is. He can sing, can't he? As well, I think. Jamie
Not sure, I haven't heard him sing.
He was a comedian to start with, I think, wasn't
Yeah. Yeah, I like Jamie Foxx. Well,
He's done some great movies, man.
Yeah, I mean,
fucking
I don't,
Django, mate.
I mean, I don't know. If,
Very
I mean,
edgy.
Obviously, he's Hollywood, but I've never heard any stories.
I
About
liked him in Law Abiding Citizen as well. That was great. It was a great movie.
Yeah,
But
that
it
was
makes
good.
you wonder, doesn't it, Lance? If every one of the... just because of the law of averages, I can't believe that every single one of these people are bought into this satanic world. I think there needs to be... But I'm not saying he is or isn't, by the way, I don't know. But because I think there needs to be genuine people in there to make it look real. I don't think they can all act for so long. But
It's
then
all,
you see some...
it's all a matter of levels, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
you know, that you can have.
Yeah,
like,
100%
look at Mel Gibson.
Yeah, yeah.
To me, it would make it more authentic and almost add to the whole ritual and the horror to have real people in Hollywood as well.
Yes.
Who,
Yeah.
because think about it, right? I think it was Dave Chappelle that said this. He said something along the lines of, why is it so many people in the entertainment industry lose their shit, commit suicide, go crazy, shave their hair off? He said, what you got to remember is these people are not weak people. To be able to become a music A-lister, a Hollywood A-lister, you need something about you that most people, literally 99% of people, don't have. And it's a kind of drive that most people can't even imagine to be that successful at something.
Could you imagine going down to your local shop and then just being swamped by people, and all you want to do is go and buy like
Yeah, well, what he said was,
something?
for people that got in that position, for them to crack under the pressure, what you've got to remember is that kind of pressure is something they've been craving their whole life and building up towards and practicing at every level once they get up to the AAA game. And I know this because although I was only Z or C game, I was maybe a C-list drum and bass MC, you know, a micro Z-list in the larger music game. But I could see, as I was going up, the attention and stuff was getting more and more, and at a couple of points it got a bit annoying. But if you go up there, you'd already be used to it. So the point is, why do these people crack? Why do they suddenly go nuts? And Dave Chappelle was suggesting, he goes, well, maybe when they get to a certain level, they're exposed to some pretty dark shit. And that's in his Dave Chappelle voice.
You think how many people knew worked at the BBC? You think how many people knew what Grandmaster Ginny was up to, but didn't fuck kids themselves?
Esther knew.
Like,
I would
do
say
you know what I mean?
all of them knew, but none of them, maybe 99% of them had never seen anything.
Dared say anything.
Dared say anything
Yeah.
or saw anything that was shocking.
But it's still in their consciousness. They're still aware that it goes on.
Maybe
aren't
a
they?
small percentage have literally seen Master Ginny go into a room with a ludicrous amount of children.
Yeah.
You know, and there wasn't anything supposed to be going on in that room. Maybe
6
one or
go
two
in,
of them
3
had
come out.
taken part, but the vast majority, they were just all new, and it was just like an unsaid thing.
You think about people like, you know, janitors, stagehands, people like that, like lower level. They fucking know what's going on. That's still
course
in
they
their
did, yeah.
consciousness. Yeah.
Of course, 100%. I think I've got a video somewhere of the guy from Status Quo even talking about that we all knew this would
And
going
like Johnny Rotten came
All
out.
of yeah,
didn't
Johnny
he?
Rotten
He
did.
was
Yeah.
talking about it. So they all know.
And
They all know what's going on, man.
Isn't it? It's a similar story to Eamon Holmes and his wife. His wife's been kicking off as well, apparently.
Yeah, because she knows what's going on.
She put a complaint in, apparently, about Schofield at the time. And she got ignored.
Oh, we've got a peasant calling in.
Got a caller. Audio. Jamie,
Lance,
how you doing, mate?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good evening, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in. This is the first time you've called us, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it is.
Welcome
yeah.
to Rise Above. Please don't say the C word or the V word. You know what they are.
I think I do.
But
yeah.
you can say fuck or bugger.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll hold off on those two.
I
didn't realise you
Trust
actually
me,
had
just to say
that
that.
calling.
Yeah, got a wine recommendation for Chris. It's,
All right,
It's called the Governor, and it's from
mate. Forget it, Majestic.
It's putting out there.
It's from Majestic. Mate, forget about it. It's
Yeah.
my favourite. I actually occasionally treat myself when it's on special offer, and I get myself 12 bottles at a time.
Nice.
Fucking lovely.
They're
that.
gone in a
Yeah,
night.
Governor. No, mate. Honestly, I'm not even joking. I every now and again I treat myself and get a full 12 bottles of Governor from Majestic Wines.
He just puts a straw in them. Just
Thank you
drinks out of
anyway.
a straw.
No, just tip
No,
them all
that's
bath
all right.
in one
So
go.
by the
Well,
pint.
it was already a successful
Tip them all
recommendation.
bath in one go. Just go under. I don't even wear goggles, so it seeps into my eyeballs.
All right.
Yeah, no,
I'll
I'm joking,
try
I'm
it.
joking.
That method.
Yeah, that's why. That's when he's got his dragon dildo out.
I'm a dragon dildo.
Good night. Sounds like a good night in.
Literally.
So, Jamie, how long have you been watching Rise Above for?
I kind of came across you probably in about 2020, and kind of before that, I saw some strange looking fella on a bench making a speech about Serco,
Oh, right.
and then I started watching Rise Above. Probably, I think I found you through Sheep Farm actually, and then I kind of put two and two together. I thought, oh yeah, kind of talking about a Serco. I'm sure I've heard somebody doing a Serco speech. So then I searched for it online. Turns out it was you, Lance.
It certainly was, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the reason, kind of on the subject of the Britain is one thing. In my day job, I'm not sure if I can't remember if we've chatted about what I do like for a living, but I work with for a big corporation, a big law firm. And we specialise in probate work, which if you don't know what probate work is, or if your listeners don't know what probate work is, it's essentially when somebody passes away with assets, there's a certain legal process you have to go through to distribute them assets, normally as per a will. And I've just noticed recently when I've been talking to people, it's crazy busy at the moment. It would never normally be this busy at this time of year. They're expecting it to be really quiet, and all the figures they produce are sort of like 20 years. Yeah, weird, isn't it? It's a weird coincidence, and then it's just not showing any signs of calming down at all. And everybody's like, oh, wow, we don't know what it is. We've got absolutely no idea what it is. But I've noticed a few clients, a few families who I speak to, because I quite often speak to like sons or daughters or, close relatives who are having to sort all this stuff out and pick all the pieces up when they've, found a sort of 45-year-old brother or sister or son or mum or dad, the following day after going to bed with a bit of a headache, not alive. Wow. One of the things that I've had, last sort of 6 months, I've not really heard it very much. Apart from this last sort of 3 months, I've kind of heard a few people say, "Well, I think we know what it is." This, and I think a few people are kind of maybe noticing, kind of what we kind of maybe predicted quite a while ago, and a lot of people that kind of watch us or watch you guys and listen to this kind of thing. I've known for quite some time.
The penny might be dropping.
It feels that way, yeah, and it feels like your normal people the people who would have been clapping at the sky a couple of years ago would never have thought of this kind of thing going on, but it's kind of hitting people that are really close to them.
Because we've got to remember, Jamie, like not everyone was like flying an NHS flag. Not everyone was shouting at their neighbours not to be 2 meters apart or whatever. A lot of people were just sort of going along with it because they couldn't be asked.
They just didn't want to hassle.
They just didn't want to hassle. The path of least resistance, etc., etc. And the thing is, like, those are the people that, because they're not staunch Coviets or Proviets or whatever you want to call them, or total programmed NPCs. They just couldn't be bothered to go along with it. But when like someone close to them dies, those are the people that are going to be activated.
I've got a mate, Lance, who works in on the other side of what you call it. We're talking about. He works in funeral homes and he does the embalming, and he said they're pulling strange things out of.
Like John Looney was saying?
John Looney, yeah. But
what's the movie? Died suddenly.
Fried
yeah.
suddenly.
Stu Peters, isn't it? Yeah. Who've just been fact checked by the BBC as well, hasn't it?
There's a little bit makes you think sometimes. Are they wanting people to kick off? Do you think? That's the idea? Because
don't forget,
like,
if there's you've got your BLM riots, that's one thing. But you think if the whole entire country riots, then that's straight to martial law.
100%, yeah.
They'd fucking love that shit.
I've got a question for Jamie. Jamie, you say you're working in probate,
I might
right?
actually, Andy.
Jamie, you're working in probate,
Yeah.
so normally, I mean, I guess the most of the people that you're dealing with are dying of natural causes when they're old, predominantly in a normal time, right? So they would usually have their will sorted out. Are you seeing more people that are obviously dying or getting fried suddenly that haven't got wills? So that's actually changing your workload.
Yeah, it is more work, and yeah, because traditionally, the nearer you get to the point of sort of like naturally passing away, which generally tends to be, or traditionally would have been, like the elderly, then the elderly tend to think about it a bit more. But when you're in, you sort of like, I mean, in a similar sort of age to you guys, I'm in my like sort of late 40s, and if I wasn't in the industry, I wouldn't be thinking about putting a will together. But so yeah, it does create more work. Because naturally people who are younger tend not to have those kind of things in place because they don't think for a second that they're going to go to bed one night and not wake up in the morning in the mid-40s or early 50s.
Jamie, can I ask you, how do your colleagues feel about it? Do they feel the same as you about all this? Can they see what's going on? Or are they...
Well, I've spoken to a few of them, and I work remotely. I just work from home. I used to live in London. I now live in Herefordshire, and so it's all remote. So we speak on like Teams and Skype and that kind of stuff normally. And a few people have said to me, these sort of 40 and 50-year-olds, and sometimes in 30-year-olds that we kind of coming across. It's not normal for people to just go to bed and then just not wake up in the morning. Just
natural causes,
like it, just coincidental. And so yeah, a few people are, and then one of the other guys who started at the same time as me said, "Do you think it's the vaccine?" I went,
"Careful with the V word there. Careful."
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, that's
smash all the buttons.
Yeah, sorry about that, lads.
It's all right. Next one, you've got to put 10 crypto shekels in the swear jar.
10 digital crypto shekels.
And a Yorkshire dead arm.
One of my mates did actually say, do you think it's the Britney? And so well, you got to ask yourself the question. This ain't normal, is it? And what's been happening recently that we've never really done before, and it's glaringly obvious to a lot of us, isn't it?
100%.
But I think for the people that have been through who subscribe to the full Britney Spears tour, it's so traumatic.
Full Britney Spears tour. When you said that, it's like you're trying to sell it to me.
Yeah. Well, when you're basically a groupie following Britney around,
and you've got your backstage pass and everything.
Mate, you're the VIP motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like I think it's too traumatic for that. Even if they even had one inkling in their mind that the two might be connected, that it would be so traumatic for them to think that shit, I've just been like attempted genocide. Like my heart could basically explode at any second.
Too much to take on board all in one go.
I met somebody tonight. Me and my wife met somebody at this football presentation night, and she was talking to us, and we were talking about hay fever. And she says, "What do you use?" Because her young gets hay fever. Anyway, I said, "Well, we use a lot of vitamin C. I got into my vitamin C spiel and all this, and Q-Serotin and all sorts of other stuff."
Was she walking backwards?
No, she didn't. No. She said, "Oh, yeah, we didn't have any of the Britneys."
All right.
So she got talking about this.
So they are aware.
People are aware. Yeah. I'm dead again. I've stopped all my kids having any sort of arm spears years ago. And all. Yeah. And so.
All right. I'd love to meet someone like that.
No, well, I'm meeting more people like this now. People are coming out of the woodwork who wouldn't have normally.
The thing is, Dom,
towards people like
people
us.
might be coming out the woodwork, right? The people in the National Holocaust Service who are coming out the woodwork, they're still in their fucking job after they know what's going on. They're still taking a paycheck.
A lot of left.
I mean, like, come on, guys, this is the worst type of person.
I think as well, a lot of them people, having worked with nurses in our clinic, a lot of them, they're seeing their friends topple over and, like Jamie's saying, not wake up or go for a shower and not come out, or we had a story last. One of the nurses were in tears when I got there. Two of the nurses, and said what's happened. Said one of his friends who we were nurse with, that she's at the NHS, had all the first two spears and 3 dart finish and all the rooster boosters to go with it.
Triple A pass round.
They found her in a shower.
Program of the concert on it.
Mate, I think the triple dart finish is like last year's news. Like people are on like their 5th and 6th.
Right, listen to this.
8th, mate. The 8th rooster. I think
one of my own family members, Dom, had another like 5th or 6th subscription to the Britney Spears tour, as well as a flu
Backstage pass.
Britney on the same in the same sitting.
Well, listen, this one, I'll top that Silver Surfer card with a whatever a flash card.
We're not playing top trumps here.
Listen,
Who can subscribe to the most genocide?
Who did beat the Silver Surfer? Who did beat the Silver Surfer?
My brother-in-law, right, who I love dearly. My brother-in-law, he rang the doctors up after having his double tap, and he was that worried
His
about
double click.
Yeah, double click. Yeah, he was that worried about it. He rang the doctor up and asked if there were any spare ones going.
Wow.
Might as
We need to have a backup.
Get 'em in.
So I was on the phone to one of these energy guys at work because our usual energy dealer can't get any good prices now. So all these people that constantly phone you up, I entertain one of them, and this young guy's on the phone to me, and he starts talking about he's got a podcast. Oh, and I was like, right, what's your podcast about? And he said, well, I'm a golfer and my friend's a rapper, and we're teaching each other. He's teaching him golf and he's teaching him to rap, and it's called like On Par or something. I said, that's a cool idea for a podcast. I said, I've got a podcast too. He said, what's it about? I said, well,
where do we start?
But he goes, anyway, I gave him the gist of it. He goes, do you know what? He goes, I went to one Britney Spears concert, right? And he goes, no word of a lie, mate. Ever since. He goes, I've constantly been ill. He goes, I've had like 8 ear infections. He goes, I'm always to the doctors with something wrong with me. He goes, I proper forget. He goes, and my family are trying to get me to get another one. I was like, mate, what are you gonna do? He's like, I don't know. I was like, don't do it. I said, like, here, watch Rise Above. Anyway, big shout out to those guys. I think they're watching.
Jamie on the line.
Oh yeah, Jamie, you still there?
Yeah, he's still.
I am. Yeah. I'm just listening away.
If you walk to the hockey and have 3 darts, you know,
180.
Yeah, I think Antikovich should do a meme of that Jockey Wilson hockey thing. Anyway.
Another experience, like a family experience, a close family member of mine, he's got a little bit of dementia, and he knackered his spine up, ended up in hospital. So they had him on the dementia ward, and only a couple of weeks ago they came round, I think, with the 7th or 8th dart, just giving him to people.
8th?
Yeah, I think it's 7th or 8th he's had, and
we're nearly into double digits.
Nearly into double figures, yeah.
Nearly at the 9 dart finish.
They're just bringing it round, people with like dementia who don't really know or have the capacity to make decisions for themselves. They're just like, just stabbing them.
I was just thinking, like, if you had dementia, right, and you were also unwell in other ways, so you're in and out of hospital quite often.
Which he is.
You might have already had 6 darts from the doctor every time he sent you a letter, because you obviously respond to it, go, okay, you queue up in the cold to get your dart. But then you go to hospital and they just bring them round on a little platter. Would you like another one?
No.
For your own,
like a tray of shots in the nightclub.
Yeah.
No, they've got a bandito things on with just shots in it instead of bullets. They just fucking
the shot girls, yeah.
Or Fatima Whitbread just throwing them from the other side of the room.
But look how normal it is, like, in the National Holocaust Service now. Like, you just get handed them out like it's a fucking.
Tessa Sanderson and Fatima Whitbread just like, what?
Yeah. You can have the Fatima Whitbread, you can have the shot glass one on a tray, or you can have the bandito one where they used to.
The mad thing is, in previous Holocausts, before you had the National Holocaust Service, they used to like tie people down in concentration camps and test darts out on them.
They don't need to do that now.
No,
the peasants just do it to themselves.
Yeah. So what's so amazing?
The herd culls itself.
People queued up.
Like, it's much more. It's easier on the dark occultists. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
It's
less
a lot
time, less money.
effort.
You just have to put out some mind control, and then they just
You
do
have
it
to spend
themselves.
a lot of money on mind control.
Don't forget,
like
mate,
billions and billions, like 20, 30, 40 years.
Don't forget, cigarettes were
Reflex
subscribed by the
Camel
doctor at
coming
one
back.
stage. Come on now, like this,
Yeah, that's
my
true.
doctor only smokes Camels.
Yeah, exactly. It's better for your lungs, Tom.
Yeah.
It's better for your lungs, mate. Yeah, smoke Camels, mate. Smoke this plant.
I told you when I complained to my doctor that I felt like everyone was pushing the Britney Spears on me, and I was feeling stressed because I wanted it to be.
I remember you saying.
I wanted it to be on record. Right?
It was taking a toll on your mental health.
Well, it was because it was like everyone was telling me that my career was going to be over if I didn't go and see Britney Spears.
You physically lost bookings.
Yeah, well, I had at that point, and I was thinking, I'll never be able to fly again. Obviously, I wasn't thinking this, but this is what I was saying to him. And he basically gave me this box, and I thought, it looked like, I thought it was midazolam. It said on it, it's metrazapine. which is probably worse than midazolam. And it's like a really strong antipsychotic. I read
It's just trying to dose you up.
Well, they read the pamphlet, and like one of the side effects is depression and suicidal thoughts.
Excellent. Sounds
Cheers,
great.
mate.
What, to
Sounds
get you
great.
away from depression and suicidal thoughts?
So you're already like got a toll
I
on your
said
mental
I was
health. So
stressed
then,
because Soviet Union was on my back, and like I was feeling a bit stressed, so he gives me like metrazapine.
don't forget, Health Chancellor Gates will make it so that there's always a solution for your problems. So there you go. It's already in
Final
place.
solution.
If you go to the doctor because you're stressed about the Soviet Union, they'll just give you one of their tablets.
Yeah, it came in an encyclopedia of side effects.
Yeah, there you go.
Obviously, I didn't take any of it. I think the box is still up there. I just kept it for posterity.
Yeah, it's how can anyway? Yeah.
Well, we know the answers to the questions. When we ask these rhetorical questions, Don, we know. Why do they do it? How can they do it? It's like, yes, but it's worse.
I think it's brilliant that people are falling for it. It's just fair
A
play
lot of
to
these.
them.
I was talking to a guy the other day buy some of our IV products, vitamin IVs and stuff from him, and he's a doctor of what was it? Anyways, he runs used to run a lab for the NHS, and he said I would never work with another surgeon ever again, never. He said because they're on, and I asked the nurses this, they're on. Somebody did some psychology on the surgeons, and they've got the same mentality as a psychopath.
Yeah, because they literally they hold life and
Yeah,
death
yeah,
in
but
their hands.
let's not forget
Exactly.
that
They get off on it.
let's not forget that one of the top attracting professions to psychopaths is surgery. Same as like police and military. There's like people with
It's like paedophiles always
Yeah,
become
yeah, yeah.
children's entertainers, scout leaders, teachers.
Total control. Total control.
Well,
over
you
something.
choose a vocation that facilitates your alter ego lifestyle, I guess. At the end
What
of
do
the
they
day.
say, don't they? They say find a job where you can get paid for doing what you enjoy. So there you
and
go.
then you never work a
Then
day
you
in
never
your
work
life.
again. Yeah, yeah.
Find a job that you love and you never work a day
So
in your life.
if you
Oh my
enjoy
God.
if you enjoy cutting people's limbs off and fucking digging around in people's stomachs
like in
and
that
other
film
parts of their
Saw,
body,
in-
like
in-
go and be
in
a
the-
surgeon.
in the
If you
first
enjoy
Saw film-
changing a man to a woman,
Yeah, there you go.
In the first Saw film, the really creepy guy that was paying there to go and cut the guy open and drill holes in his kneecaps, he revealed that he always wanted to become a surgeon, but his hands were too shaky.
In Saw,
Yeah, the first Saw movie.
was it? I can't remember.
know,
Can you
where the-
remember wasn't there a program on Sky that used an autistic guy as a surgeon? It was like one of those programs about 5 or 6 years ago where they were pushing.
Sorry, Matt, go on.
I think it was The Good Doctor, wasn't it?
That's the one, and I never watched it. It just freaked me out though. When you think about they were trying to push this, like this guy as the and also that other one as well with that other doctor who were nuts.
Hannibal Lecter.
Shipman.
No, not him. I'll think about it. Go on.
Jamie,
Anyway.
are there any sorry, you can't.
But what I'm trying to say is, are some of these doctors now, if you think of the age groups, if 1 in 36 kids are autistic, for argument's sake, now, are some of these doctors, these surgeons now, is that what they were telling us? Are they partly autistic or got behavioural issues? Or
Right.
you see where I'm coming from?
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, they're not being screened for it like maybe people in law enforcement are in some countries, and you do those psychometric tests or whatever.
But them psychometric tests they're
can be
screening for.
skewed.
Mate,
Could be
okay,
skewed.
right. Listen to this, right? Okay, so there's an article online, okay, called "Confessions of a Bastard Cop." Right, everyone. I encourage everyone to go and read that. That's straight from the horse's mouth, yeah, from an ex-police officer who's like got out of the force, and he goes into all the nasty shit they used to do. But he talks specifically about the training. Okay. So you could go into the police force thinking you're going to help everyone, like help old ladies cross the road, catch bank robbers, all that kind of shit. And what they do, right, they literally, to segregate you from society, they sit you down and make you watch videos of policemen being killed and policewomen being killed on duty by civilians over and over and over again. This is a cult technique to indoctrinate someone and to put them in a state of trauma. But that then segregates them from society. So you can go into a police force, completely legitimate, like not a psychopath, and they fucking turn you into a secondary psychopath, which is, pretty much just as bad.
Same as a prison can take someone that's just committed a random
Yeah.
offence and got convicted into a proper habitual criminal.
I hate to think what they do to you in like special black ops,
Yeah,
teams and shit like that, where you're at the highest level of fuckery.
Well, Barry Trower told a story where the American American Army rung him up about some special ops that went a bit gaga there. They'd been out on an op, and they had this new technology on, and they'd gone home, and there were like 4 of them, and they'd gone home and committed acts of violence. I think one of them killed the family and stuff like this. Anyway, when it was like the Pentagon run Barry Trower. I don't know if you've heard of Barry Trower, the guy that talks about all of
I think so,
the
yeah.
EMFs and stuff like that. Yeah,
not sure, I'm
he
not
was an
familiar.
ex. Well, he was he worked in the Navy as a microwave expert.
Oh, so he knows.
He knows.
He knows, yeah.
And he's in his 80s now. But he told a story that they asked him what frequencies would turn someone to this type of violence. And he told them the frequency. He said, "I'm not going to repeat it." He says, "because I don't want to be responsible." And he says, if it was in this frequency, so it was their microphone and headgear they were using, and they had it on for 24 hours. That could turn them to violence.
To
And they
make
had it
you
on
literally lose your mind.
Yeah, they had it on for 48 hours.
Wow. What is it, Lance, in your Who Invited the Military here tune? What is it, the lyric you say when you list their weapons? There's the ray. The
50k crowd dispersal energy ray.
Yeah, that. Yeah. So you think they can target individuals with rays, such as what you're talking about? They might not possess that.
But it comes back to the
specific technology as
Cuban
a
embassy,
standard
wasn't
police
it?
officer, but
Cuban
it is
embassy
out there.
Yeah, the Cuban embassy, they were doing it, and the in the Cold War, the Russians were doing it to the American embassy in West Berlin. They were beaming it into one. There were one window showing, and the Americans couldn't work out why everyone were going down with leukemia. So they kept replacing.
Fried by.
They were getting fried by. It was a listening device. They were using it to listen in on the conversations from the American embassy, but they couldn't work out where it was coming from and what it was. And they finally worked it out, but they actually kept replacing people. So when one of the staff died who was sat at whatever the chair, they replaced them so they could find out where it was coming from.
Wow.
There you go. Look, expendable. Order followers, you're all expendable.
Fully expendable.
Oh, it makes me think, Dom, right? You know, everyone's walking around with these fucking earbuds now, like headphones without any. What the fuck is going on between those two things going directly through your brain?
It's Bluetooth technology, radiation beaming straight
It's
to your
like,
ear.
you know, what's that doing to you?
Yeah. Well, that's
a very innovative way for the dark occultists to come up with the herd culling
100%.
themselves. Yeah. Just
What
beam some shit directly between your ears through your brain.
all these things run on hertz, don't they, as well?
Yeah. But everyone's walking around with them. Do you know what I mean? They're the next trendy thing. Everyone's got them.
Yeah. Oh, they are. You know, it's how do you explain that to a youngster though? Like when I remember mobile phones came out, and our dad was saying, "Oh, you don't want one of them things. Shut up, you silly old git." You know what I mean? You don't know what you're talking about.
Mate, it says on the box of an iPhone when you buy it, it says "Do not hold closer than 6 inches to your head." It's a fucking telephone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just get away from your body.
So,
I don't think.
But I mean, again, most people have that in their pocket, right near their genitalia.
Exactly.
So it's like.
Well, I mean,
Wait
with
for it to vibrate.
Britney, I mean, you don't have to put 2 and 2 together. Britney's new technology just goes hand in glove. CERN gets turned on. Blah blah blah.
Don't forget, they don't want to make everyone drop dead immediately because they're using us all as batteries for their machine. But they don't want us to live like, you know, they don't want to have to pay any pensions or stuff like that.
Well, there's going to be a new control frequency in the peasant farm, and any peasants that can't survive the transition into that frequency won't be living in the new farm. That's as simple as that.
Do you think that the Divock 91 pandemic was when people were dropping dead of something? Do you think that's something to do with some frequency change?
Wireless pentagram.
Wireless pentagram.
I honestly think that it's probably.
And now,
the most likely.
the people that are still here have like their bodies have adjusted to it. I'm just throwing it out there. It's not one necessarily.
Can you remember that video I played a year ago, but probably about a year ago on here, when we did the Young Global Leaders, and we had that guy who was called Professor Giordano, and he basically told you, "I'll infect you. Everyone else will think they're going to catch it," and so what he's talking about is infecting the mind. He talks about the new battlefront being the brain, and I'd ask everybody to listen to what he's saying there. He's part of DARPA.
that.
Yeah, he's part of DARPA. He basically told you what went on in 2020 in 2016.
Yeah,
And so was there something happening? Yes, but what is we had a conversation with a guest on our show the other day. What is a virus? Yeah.
Well,
that can
again,
be
but we need to be very careful here.
No, I'm not going down that road.
For M&M.
I'm not going down that road. What I'm trying to say is, in the Twilight language that gets spoken about, that could mean all sorts of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
To us, it means something we've been programmed to think it means, but in reality, it could be something totally different.
I mean, I'm no surgeon or like medical personnel of any kind. However, I mean, I've read plenty of articles where like renowned medical professionals have said that what we're talking about isn't what we've been conditioned to think, and it's your body releasing toxins.
Careful.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be very careful.
Look at what's been sprayed in the skies. How easy would it be? I mean, Operation Cauldron was run from 1944 during World War II up to 1989. They had about, I think there were 800 missions just sprayed.
That's what I mean, man. They've been doing this shit for years.
Length and breadth of Britain with zinc, cadmium, and Bacillus globigii, which is anthrax. Now, everything, it's not like, and they're doing the same in America as well. The large area particle trials, they were called, and they found out that zinc cadmium causes asthma, lung cancer.
What a great combo! You've got heavy metals and anthrax.
Exactly.
Great.
They flooded the London Underground with all these things as well, and they found it went 10 miles down the underground. Then they were monitoring who was off work and what they were off work. This was in the 60s. This was in London.
Yeah.
They were going through America with suitcases down by you guys, actually, in Poole.
Yeah, they sprayed it over whole villages down here.
Sprayed it up, yeah.
Everyone got cancer
from a navy ship.
Cheers, bro.
From a navy ship, they were spraying it. It went in a 20-mile radius or hundreds of miles radius.
Yeah, because down here in the southwest, we've got loads and loads of military bases, mainly to do with the Marines. We've got the tanks down here at Bovington. Because there's lots of like wetlands in here for training, so obviously there's lots of human testing that goes on down here as well.
Unknown human testing.
Yeah, that's why
they're doing that round Lyme Regis, I think, at one point. Spraying it out into the sea.
Yeah, it was Lyme Regis, yeah.
Yeah, which is where my vlog was from last week. It was near to Lyme Regis, and if you drive from where I am here to Lyme Regis, you go past, Bovington Tank Range, where they obviously test out ballistics and stuff like that. You go past a couple of different kinetic installations, which is the military technology wing of.
We've spoke about kinetic before, haven't we?
Yeah, so like because there's a lot of countryside and sort of like
no man's land
down here. So yeah, right on Rise Above HQ's doorstep. Funny enough,
it's great for training the order followers.
Yeah.
Well,
going all night out, we're just got to be careful what we say on here.
Yeah, don't want any Marshall Mathers, any M&Ms.
No.
Speaking of the farmer class, look at this.
Do you remember us talking about this crew?
I thought you talked about this lot.
They funded one of the prizes. Let me think what prize it was now. They funded one of the prizes that Schwab launched the Young Global Leaders with.
Right, so these are one of the families behind the frontmen like Gates and Schwab, for sure.
Ancient families, these Sacklers.
So the billionaire Sackler family, the owners of Purdue Pharma, they're farmers, are given immunity from civil lawsuits for opioid victims in the exchange for $6 billion to fund and treat addiction. So they've basically bankrolled all of the synthetic opioids like oxycodone in the West, fentanyl in the East through the Chinese, which have caused more death.
Have you heard how they're funding
all the other drugs put together?
Have you heard how they're funding it?
Go on.
Well. So to do this, they've had to keep the business has been allowed to keep going because the drugs are too important that they give to people who really need them in pain. So they're paying it out of the profits.
Wow.
This is what we're agreed. So they're not paying it out of their pockets.
So
paying it out of the profits.
Oh no, this is just a business model.
Yeah, so it's actually the money from all of the tax money that's paid for those or subsidised those drugs, or the people that have bought them.
If a peasant won't call themselves, they'll pay for the peasants who will call themselves.
But do you know what's a double schwabbery in this game? Right? I guarantee that $6 billion to fund and treat addiction. Do you know what they're going to spend it on? they'll spend it on their super synthetic opioid substitutes, things like methadone and stuff like that, which will get people that are coming off their first level of addiction with their super
They'll
strong.
just take it down a tier.
Yeah, but
that'll give you a whole different load of
addiction
problems
is
later on
at
in
least
life.
as worse.
Yeah.
At least
There's another one as well.
Well, don't forget. Like Mark Passio, he talks about this. So, for any of our listeners that don't know, Mark Passio, he used to be working in the tech industry, and he used to go to some of the top universities and medical facilities, and he's got a first-hand account. He was working in a cancer research facility in a top university, and one of the people there, one of the workers, said, "I think I've had a breakthrough," and they got immediately penalised for trying to find an actual cure. And they said, if you do that again, we're going to fucking lose our funding, and you're going to lose your job immediately. So that's how it really works. They don't want to actually help anyone. They just want to,
real. Wow, 340 people tuned in. Big shout out to everyone tuned in. This is Rise Above. I meant to press the Rise Above button.
That was very lo-fi.
But also, what that case does there, that draws a line now. Nobody now can sue them now that they know it's harmful. Just like they did with the cigarettes. The cigarettes, once that lawsuit went, and the talcum powder one, once they got the lawsuit, nobody else can sue them. They draw a line under it.
Yeah, because the legal precedent has been set.
Yeah. Do you remember the DDT? They used to spray the kids with the DDT.
Yeah. So good they can eat it.
That sounds like a little bar there. At the BBC, they spray kids with DDT.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, mate.
Yeah.
We've still got Jamie, our caller, on the line. Did you have anything else on your list that you wanted to bring to the table?
No. Thanks ever so much for.
I'm not booting you out. You're welcome to stick with us, mate. I'm just
no
conscious.
one else fucking wants to talk to us.
No, exactly. It's been our sole caller tonight. Big shout out to Jamie.
No, I'll stay. Yeah, I'm happy to stay on. That's
cool.
It's really interesting, all this stuff. I'm just say to Dom and Chris, I'm really enjoying the Huxley stuff that you're putting out. It's really interesting stuff. The first one I listened to, your first deep dive, was the first one I came across was the Bojo one, which was and the Tony B. Lyle one, which was really, really interesting. Them two, very dark.
Yeah.
Very dark. Yeah.
Sheep Farm are always well known for going to the absolute bottom of the rabbit hole when it comes to
that's like why
these parasites.
Why we like to work with these guys so much, because our show is very fast paced and it's very abstract sometimes, and we're talking about all of these topics, and sometimes we dance over them very, very quickly without giving any of the context, any of the detail, and any of the sort of the meat on the bone, and for some of our listeners that might be new, it might be a little bit, oh wait a minute, what does it actually mean there? This is where we love to chat with Dom and Chris. So
it's a kind of networking connection as well, isn't it? So we've got Dom and Chris on. Dom and Chris got some fabulous presentations online, in depth. I mean,
but when we talk about these characters, these guys can come out with okay, so here's the day when this happened, and the links between these companies, because we take all this for granted because we've been looking at it for so long. But to have the wealth of information from Sheep Farm as well, to draw on that level of detail, I think is very important, because we're gisters. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We rarely draw for the facts and figures that much anymore because of the nature of the show, and we're trying to be careful with the censorship and stuff like that.
You need every colour in the rainbow.
No, exactly.
Don't mention that, Chris.
It's got to be the full spectrum, and no one entity or group can do that. So that's why I think it's very important that we keep these collaborations going, because we are all fulfilling different roles in this. We're going with the more sort of like entertainment show side, Friday night chat show.
But it's great to talk. We still talk about the occult. We still talk about everything. That
I think what you guys do and we do, we try and. I suppose although I'm a bit long in the tooth now, but I suppose we're new kids on the blocking, as opposed to being out there doing podcasts in comparison to Richard Dior, Mark Devlin, people like that type of thing. So we've had to bring something different. We've had to bring something different to it, haven't we? You guys have brought your elements to it, the music side of it as well, and we've brought our side to it as well, and I think we've taken it because it's very dark. we've had to lighten it up a little bit, like you guys have.
Well, that's why
And
we
you've
like
got
to
your
add
own special
some
flavour
satire
with
to
that.
the show as well. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Right from the off, we've always tried.
But we
to
both do that in different ways, and that's
Exactly.
really nice because you've got your very nice sort of like dry, sort of like tongue-in-cheek style sometimes, the way you address certain topics with these ludicrously perverse characters, and you know, and the way that you know that it goes back generationally so many times. You can prove the same thing over and over again with your research, which I think is brilliant. So should we move on to a bit of global climate warming change?
Got me Schwabi and cat here, Lance.
That's looking very. What's the guy in Inspector Gadget called that has the cat? Is it
a Mancoon?
No. What's the villain called that strokes the cat?
The Claw? Is it the Claw?
The Claw. Is it the Claw?
I can't remember.
But it's very it's just that metal hand stroking the cat, isn't it?
330 peasants currently tuned in.
We can't get off that number. It's like 330 or 333. Very good.
What do you expect at this point?
No, it's good. So if you are
Cat's called
enjoying what you
Hamish,
see,
by the way, Lorraine.
please don't forget to subscribe to Rise Above. It does help to come up in your feed if you have subscribed.
And don't forget to check out the Nova Flip expose.
Yeah, don't forget to type in Nova Flip into YouTube as well, see what you get. Right, global climbing warming change.
Global climbing warming.
Did I say climbing warble
Global
change?
climate warming change.
Global climate warming change. 200,000 cows must be cold to hit climate targets. I think this is...
this was Shakti.
Yeah, this is from Shakti.
Yeah.
This is the story which she put
Have we lost Dom? Where's Dom gone?
Dom's just gone to do some tap dancing or something. Basically she made a little video of this, and it's the one that's got like 1.4 million views.
That's right, yeah, I've seen it on her social media.
Yeah,
because I commented when she put this up, I was like, this is nothing but blood let into the earth.
Because obviously, you know, we in the UK, or in England rather, we are in the privileged position of not having really a famine in known or rememberable history. Irish people aren't in that position. They do have a proper famine in their sort of like close genetic memory, right?
Do you remember the Alan Partridge sketch?
Oh my God, I watched that the other day.
Fucking cringe, right?
Why didn't they just be less fussy? Yeah, I watched that episode too. Me and the Empress were binging on Alan Partridge the other week. It's last week actually. So 200,000 cows cold in Ireland.
People are insane, aren't they? They're insane. What are they talking about?
You think the amount of blood let to the earth, 200,000 cow?
We in fact,
think about
it's almost like they're using. Yeah, it's almost like they're using Ireland as a bit of a testing country for quite a few things at the moment.
Yeah. Well, I speak to Shakti a lot, and we did a podcast with her on Tuesday night.
No, we didn't do a podcast, mate. We did an emergency announcement.
Emergency broadcast. Yeah. It's definitely fair to say that the Irish were hit a lot harder than we were.
Mate, shout out to my mate Tom. He's been staying with me the last couple of days. He's from New Zealand, and those guys got fucked in the ass by the COVID union.
Really?
Yeah, like well hard. Same as Australia, places like Victoria.
It's funny you have all these islands.
Horseface Jacinda, she really fucking went to town on the peasants of New Zealand.
They're all islands out there on their own as well. I don't think that's a coincidence that they target these places where they're just on their own.
Yeah, but again, I'd like to, like you suggested Ireland was a testing ground. I'd say that New Zealand and Australia were as well.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is that they're all islands on their own, aren't they?
They're
not surrounded by any of the land masses. That's what I mean.
I mean, let's be honest. If the COVID union wanted to swarm on the country, like, what the fuck are they going to do about it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean,
Lance, I've got a question around that. Why, you know, like with all these countries around that have had, like, you know, testing various different things like Ireland and Australia and New Zealand, surely at some point it'll probably be our turn to have some sort of like project. They're kind of waiting. They're kind of waiting about, aren't they? You know, before they test things like that on us.
Well, no, they're turning it on and off. Do you know what I mean? Again, it's a standard cult technique. You turn it up, give it to you 100 miles an hour, full steam ahead. Then they turn it down a bit, make you like get into a full sense of security. Then they'll turn it up again, and that's how it goes.
I think Jamie, we'd sort of postulated on the show before, even maybe back in 2021, that the likelihood is because of our unique position here, living on the same island as the city of London, which is still is the financial...
The head of the serpent.
It's the head of the serpent financially, and, you know, and operational-wise, we have a unique position, I think. And the way that it was basically put before is that if they went full Soviet Union here, and it failed, and there was a successful kickback, which I believe, if we were fully activated, could be more likely than any other country with the way that English people have been in history.
However, we haven't got any weapons, mate.
Yeah, we don't have any weapons. But if it failed here, then it would be a very bad thing. So it's obviously about testing, about putting out feelers, testing that, we've been talking about the different countries that had different levels of this. I think that the likelihood is, because of our unique position, we would probably always be last once it had been successful everywhere else, which is obviously quite a good position for us to be in if we live here, I guess. If that's true.
If you're in a satanic mindset and just care about yourself.
Well, or if you were in the mindset...
I'm only fucking with you.
Let me finish. Or if you're in the mindset of still wanting to be able to do something and speak out against it and mobilise, it would be best to still be living in the country that would...
Do you remember there was that video going around social media of the Ukrainian woman where she was asked by some media company in an interview, like, who's to blame for it? And she said Ukraine started the war, not Russia.
Yeah.
And she had the fucking Soviet Union straight knocking on her door. Like some middle-aged woman who just said something like, we're not at that level of censorship yet, but it's coming.
Let's not forget, Ukraine is the first European country to have the digital ID and the CBDC, which is they basically implementing that. Because like in Nigeria, they've already got it, and there's piles of money on the street that nobody wants. That's already happened.
Because it's worthless.
Yeah. So
I always thought it was odd that every European country got into the euro except for England. We kept our pound. I always thought that was odd, and I don't know what it means, but I always thought it meant something.
It's kind of the reason why I saw Brexit as a good thing.
Well, also a planned thing. Well, more than anything, it was planned because we never got the euro.
But don't forget as well. Again, it's like they're going to kill more than two birds with one stone, because that's a divisional tactic as well. It splits the whole country in half, like whether you're with the EU or without. Fuck me. I spoke to people who they're so retarded they think we've actually left Europe. Like, I said, what, has England and like the UK just geographically picked itself up and fucking walked out into the ocean?
I know, it was
like,
insane.
Moved away from Europe. Like, we're still in Europe, like we're just not part of the EU.
I remember being in...
I work in kitchens and people are going, I'm going to have to leave now because we're out of the EU. I'm like, but then how can an African or an Asian person work here? No one's kicking you out, you know, Beth. You know what I mean? You made it into such a hoo-ha that everyone would go, oh God, it's all going to crumble. But
I remember
there's been
being
immigration into England forever. African, Asian, all different cultures have worked here.
I mean,
since time memorial.
All that's really happened is they put the price of Evian water up. Like since we left the EU. That's
also,
essentially what's happened.
I post things abroad, right? And what they've done is, there's more paperwork to post something to Europe than there is to post it to America. That's what they've done. They've just made it into like a difficult, loads of things to sign and numbers to get that don't mean anything. It's harder to post to France than it is to America.
See, this is another contradictory piece of bullshit from the Soviet Union about the global climate warming change. Because you think about the travelling distance for your package, whatever you're sending, to go to Europe from England as opposed to America. Now, if we were in a global climate warming change like crisis, they wouldn't be doing that shit, would they? No. So it's a contradictory.
Yeah. Also, let's just say the climate is warm.
We've got a caller on the line. Sorry, guys. I'm going to take the call.
Jamie, thanks for joining us, mate. We've got to jump to another call.
Wait, where are you from, Jamie? Before you go, because that's definitely an Northern accent.
I think he's gone.
He's gone.
Right. Jamie will message me. New caller. What's your name?
Sean.
Hello, Sean. Welcome to Rise Above. You know that you can't say the C or the V word, right?
Yeah, man.
But you can say fuck or bugger.
How long you been watching the show, mate?
On and off. About since the beginning of all this rubbish.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Where are you calling from, Sean?
Northamptonshire.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah, I just wanted you to give us some more details about this this festival that you're doing.
Okay, RAsummit. Okay, yeah. So basically,
because me and my mate are gonna book to come, so we need to know what the score is.
Okay, so basically, mate, it's in a place called Hope in Sussex, which is
it's not off grid.
It's not off grid. It's like it's like an agricultural school in a farm there. So it's like they teach what it is. They use it to teach kids that have been taken out of school. So it's sort of like they've got classrooms, but they also have events there as well. They've got like a bar, a cafe. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Oh,
here.
sorry, I just heard a little sound that goes. "Boop." I thought you'd come off.
That's me vaping.
Yeah. Oh, right, that's your vape. So we thought what we could do for our next event is actually support a group and a venue that is doing good work, and we're going to use it to have our first ever conference there, mate. So on the Friday night, we're going to be having a live podcast. For the first time ever, we're going to do this in a studio with a live audience. It will obviously be broadcast as well. On the Saturday during the day, we've got workshops from the Rise Above team, Mark Devlin, and we've also got Andy PG. You can tell them what you're organising.
Yeah,
this.
man, we're doing. Me and Magic's organised. We've got a 6-hour rave going on. Starting with Mark Devlin on the. He's going to do a presentation and then a DJ set. We're covering the full spectrum of rave music. We've got from drum and bass, grime, hip hop, soulful house.
Old school break.
Old school breaks. There's loads of stuff going on. There's
full Rise Above crew.
There's in the daytime we're gonna have light music. People like Nicky Longhurst. They can play some world kind of music. It's gonna be really cool, man. There's a fire pit, a massive fire pit. It's a really cool venue.
I can imagine, but we're going to be camping, and I'm a carnivore. I like eating meat.
Oh, don't worry. There's going to be meat food there. There's
every peasant will be catered for. Don't worry.
It's not
so
like
can we camp and do barbecues and
absolutely
all that
yeah. There's a field there, so you can camp. You can come in a van. You can cook your own food. They're serving food there as well, but you're obviously welcome to cook your own food.
There's toilets and a couple of showers there and stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's camping, but it's adjacent to like a site that's got electric and everything. So different to our other events where it's literally out in the middle of nowhere, no electric, nothing. We've got like a whole sort of like farm complex there, and we've got a lovely camping field. And we're gonna have a sick party with all the workshops and everything. So we'd love to see you there. Bro.
And on the Sunday we've got a few cool things from the HR department as well.
Yeah, so guided breathing from Toroidal Dynamics. We've got yoga from Victoria at Simply Yoga. We've also got energy healing and Reiki. So it's sort of like a conference. It's a weekender. It's a party. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Cool, man. See you there.
All right, sick. Has that answered all your questions, mate?
Yeah, man.
Get to Rise Above TV and get some tickets, my man.
Yeah, man. See you soon.
All right,
cool.
Thanks very much
nice
for
talking
calling,
to you, Sean.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Take care, mate.
We've got a question on the screen there, Lance.
Is there an open mic? Is that for like MCs?
I would imagine so.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's everything. All the music at this event is going to be like basically rave music, right?
Essentially, yeah.
So
apart from in the daytime,
I don't see why we can't have a session open mic for MCs.
Yeah,
I can host that.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. Send me a little demo on riseaboveartists@gmail.com. So once again, we are doing customer services. We've got Sheep Farm with us. We're dissecting Clown World. We're also talking about the phenomenon of the fact checker and how. Do you like that button, Dom?
I like that one, yeah.
It is
Michael.
Particularly good. We need to turn the volume down.
Michael's
on that.
loud, isn't he?
It's overly. It's like 33% louder than
yeah, but
the
then,
he.
then when I go for an archaics button, you've got to turn it right up.
Oh yeah, because the holographic.
This is a holographic construct.
It's too quiet. Right. So yeah, big shout out to everyone tuned in. Let's get interactive. RiseAboveLivestream@gmail.com is the Skype, and it's also the email if you want to send us an email. Okay. So we talked about Clown World. We've talked about the Rainbow Agenda.
33 million people in Britain are mentally ill. No, they're not.
It looks like the Soviet Union. This is a couple of weeks old now, but you know things are always on a bit of a predetermined course.
Oh, we've got another caller coming in. Hog Dan Munch.
Go on. All right. Let's welcome Hog Dan Munch. This is customer services. Welcome to Rise Above.
Hi guys, how you doing? You
How
right?
you doing? You know the rules.
brother,
I
how's it
don't need
going?
to tell you what you can't say on here.
Yeah, damn right. Fucking bugger's fine, man. I know the score. Yeah, just had to ring up, man. This is legendary.
Yeah, mate, it's been a
Call up,
while.
say
Yeah,
hello.
it's good to hear from you at every customer service.
Good to finally get a chance to say hello to Chris as well. Spoke to Dom quite a few times.
Hey, mate,
so
all right.
Good to speak to you, brother.
Yeah, you too,
Loving
mate.
the
all right.
gaming club stuff. loving
Yeah,
to
cheers, brother.
Uxley's as well.
So what, I don't know if it takes your fancy, Hogtown Monks, but Chris is actually moving into the dildo range as well.
As usual, it was a small conversation I had with Dom, and he's made it into a big fucking deal.
This is a bit of Chinese whispers going on here. So, Hogtown Monks, like, I mean, how's things your end? How are you enjoying Clown World and the Covert Union?
Yeah, it's been a bit shit. To be honest. No, I just want to talk about very quickly on a more serious note. I call it like the Blitzkrieg, because a lot of people are talking about like the Britney Spears concerts and all the rest of it, and even the normies are really starting to see it now.
Yeah.
And I keep pointing about the skies as well, like the planes. Like, is that shit normal? Really? You know, and people are starting to like cotton on now. Oh, yeah, where's our summer gone?
Are you talking about the zigzags in the skies?
I'm talking about a complete blanketing, mate.
Oh, mate, it's perfectly normal. It's perfectly normal. Just look down at your phone.
Don't look up.
Look at your phone at TikTok, peasant. That's it. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Just look down at your TikTok, mate. Obviously, that's a good use of your time.
But it is like land, sea, and air right now, and they're literally hitting us with everything. And people think it's just the jibby jabs and all that nonsense, but it ain't.
Oh, don't forget that the more creative the dark occultists can get, like the more kudos for them when they're sitting at their gentleman's club laughing, drinking their fucking expensive shit, smoking cigars. They're like, you know, the more retarded ways they can get the population to call themselves. Like, I mean, they've done with the lines in the sky. Like, it's now dangerous to breathe.
They even made that film "Don't Look Up." I said this about a comic.
Just look down at your TikTok, mate.
I watched it again the other day. That film. Has anyone seen it? This recent
I've
film.
seen it.
It's got
I've seen
all
it.
the famous people that don't look up.
It is pretty decent, that film.
It is decent. On one level, you think it's just taking the piss out of Trump supporters, but it's multi-layered. It's definitely worth a watch anyway.
Well, even the title, "Don't Look Up," he's literally saying, "Yeah, just don't look up."
Yeah,
don't
exactly.
Look at
Just
anything.
look down.
Yeah. It's very clever, and it's got old Leonardo in it, isn't it?
So, Hogdown Munch, so you trying to say that the average peasant normie is starting to look up and say, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think so too.
To left, right, and centre saying stuff I never thought I'd see him say.
Yeah.
Kyle Greaves commented on it like a few months ago. In fact, it was probably last year.
I saw.
And he was taking the piss out of how many people were going on about chemtrails and going, "Oh, chemtrails retards." And I was like, I hate to say this, but you do realise that they are actually real. He's like, I don't care if they're real or not. I'm just pissed off with so many people talking about it. That's what the point of his post. That so many people on his Facebook were complaining about all the lines in the sky.
I think we do need to be a little bit careful that our perception of what everyone is thinking, like people say, "Oh, the mass awakening," all of that is just because there might be a few people around you as an individual that are waking up doesn't mean that as a whole blanket society people are waking up. I just think I'm not being negative, but I just think we need to be in perspective.
Well, and it also depends what your social media is like.
Exactly, yeah.
Because like if you are like us, most people that are proper staunch normies would have unfriended you or blocked you a long time ago.
And don't forget, there's a lot of people that know like they'll go as far as the Pizzagate stuff, for an example, and know that politicians and people like that are paedophiles, but they won't look at anything else because that's as far as they want to go.
They don't even want to know about that.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like,
but they won't look into it
they're
anyway.
already gutted that they know a little bit about it.
I do think we need to be careful when we say like a lot of people are waking up because they're waking up in your immediate radius.
I think it's fair to say that there's. I mean, this is what I was getting at earlier on with the kickback towards the rainbow, because I think I have noticed it this year compared to Pride last year, for instance. Because, well, apart from that, it has.
I'll tell you
worse.
a story, right? This is when I used to live in Bournemouth, right? I was driving along one morning on the way to work, and I saw along the Bournemouth Eastcliff, right, and it was Pride, like the weekend party. They were having a party in the Triangle area of Bournemouth, which is the kind of gay community area, and I saw fucking 3 dudes, right, chained up by the neck, being like in some leather fucking like Alan Partridge style, vulcanized rubber style get up, chained up from the neck, like being led by someone, and they all had pig masks.
Many
on.
young sailors go missing in the
Right,
triangle.
and there was some dude like walking 3 pigs basically to go to the Pride party, and like there's children walking around. This is by the beach, man.
Once I
And, like, they're just with some dudes
turning me on.
walking along with his 3 pigs in like sexual bondage gear at like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sounds like fun where you live, Andy.
Fuck me, I moved to the forest, mate.
Move out of the triangle.
Yeah.
I think it is being noticed more. I think it's fair to say, Hogdown Monks, that there is an increase in people noticing what's going on in the sky. But there's also an increase in what's going on in there. It's definitely worse than last year.
If that's the case, right? If that is the case, which is a great thing that people are noticing, do you think people have actually got the balls to do anything about it?
What are you going to do about it?
I personally
What are you
don't.
going to do? Storm an airport and beat up a pilot?
Well, like I said earlier, we haven't got any weapons, man. Like, what are you going to really do about it? They can throw whatever they like at us because we haven't got any weapons to
Doesn't
actually
matter. They'll
do
just
anything.
have drone pilots. It'll just be done by a drone.
Yeah,
Even
or
if-
just put you into like martial law. Like, do you know what I mean? We're pretty fucked.
It'll
to be
probably
fair.
be a psyop to get rid of pilots. Oh, you can't trust a pilot. They're slightly
Or it could be a test of how strong our nerve is. Keeping.
We have got some weapons. Oh, sorry, Don, go on.
No, just to keep how strong our nerve is. Maybe we're not all right. We're being attacked at certain points, but we're sort of left alone as well, aren't we? In a way, you know.
I mean, you've still got the option to say no
Yes.
to the Soviet Union, haven't you? Yeah, let's be honest.
That's our weapon, Andy.
None of us are physically getting hoarded into concentration camps
We
at
bre-
this time.
We breathe
They
the
know why,
chemtrails
what-
the same as everybody else.
Yeah,
though.
exactly. Yeah.
It'd become too obvious if that happened, Andy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it has to be incremental steps. Like, eventually, like we're talking about the peasantry coals themselves. Like eventually, they'll get them to walk into a concentration camp themselves if they
What
can
did
put
Lan-
out
what
enough
did- what did
mind
Lance
control.
say, Chris? Lance said they wouldn't even know it was a concentration
Exactly,
camp.
just
ask for
stroll
Wi-Fi
straight in,
code.
peasants. It's good for you. It's under the name of
It'd
safety.
be a safety camp. It'd be a safety camp.
If
comrade.
you don't go in there, you're a racist.
Yeah, it'd be a safe space to get away from beggars.
Nova Flip will be on the door welcoming you in.
Never flip.
Yeah.
It'd be the fucking welcoming.
Nova
app.
flipped. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Maybe. Imagine this: if it's just another one of those psyops that you can chuck onto the pile that could be catalyst for the Great Reset. We can't trust doctors. They'll fucking Britney you with something that they get paid for that they knew they didn't even
Let's
take
be
themselves.
honest now. Let's be
You
honest.
can't
In the
tru-
last few years, they've done the police. They've done.
You can't trust
now
the
they've
police.
done
They're
medical.
racist. They hunt black people.
The only
You
ones
can't
left.
trust pilots. They might chemtrail you.
The only ones left
Replace
is the
them with
fire
AI.
brigade.
Al Gore would never do that.
Fucking NWA didn't make no tune about fuck the fire brigade, did they?
They tried to blame the fucking fire brigade on Grenfell.
And then 9/11. That's when they got the fire brigade.
Yeah, but there was no one after 9/11 saying like the fire brigade was shit and they
No.
could have done better. Like they were still like the heroes. Do you know what I mean?
I'd say, I've said this before on the show, I think one of the most dangerous things you can do in this day and age is go into fucking hospital.
It's definitely more dangerous than being a fireman.
Imagine you're in a coma, you don't know what the fuck they're doing to you,
know
what
the
they're
figures,
dosing
don't
you
you?
up with.
The iatrogenesis. You've heard of that word, haven't you?
No.
Iatrogenesis is a word. It's a Greek word that basically means your doctor's harmed or killed you.
Wow.
Yeah, and the figures are roughly 150,000 people die within 90 days of a medical procedure in this country. This was before this nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are government figures. So
I mean,
it's
that's
broken down-
substantial, man.
I remember.
but it's broken down into 3 parts: 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And obviously, the larger amount of people out of that 147,000 to be exact. Bear in mind, only at that time, 450, 500,000 people died. So it was nearly a third of all people had had a medical procedure.
There's that lucky number 3 again.
Yeah. So if you think about that obviously some operations are different to others. Somebody's gone in with a cut leg and they've stitched them up. It's a little bit different than somebody going in for a triple heart bypass type of thing. Yeah. Yeah. And also there's another one where I think it was roughly 30,000 people a year die from prescription drugs after taking them exactly how they should do. This isn't overdoses.
This is the thing. Whatever they prescribe you, it might fix one ailment or mask it, whatever, but it's going to give you 10 other head fucks to deal with.
Yes. Like Lance's
In other
drugs
parts
that
of
they
your
were
body.
trying to palm him off with.
Honestly, like the thing is, like luckily I knew what that drug was because I actually knew someone that was abusing that drug and died.
Yeah.
Very sad. Yeah. I know that drug basically is like it can be like midazolam. It sort of basically puts you to
All
sleep.
this stuff is like that, isn't it? It's to speed up the process of getting rid of it.
Yeah, it's
I gave
terrible.
we had to. I mean, it weren't nice watching that. I'll tell you that now.
Does it not make you feel like really shit the next day, like you've woken up from an operation or something, taking that?
I'll be honest, his fit was so bad at that point, it didn't really matter. He was so far gone.
Because I remember that was how it was described to me.
It's like putting someone down, is how I describe it. It doesn't actually work that quickly, believe it or not, though. And when your kid's fitting in front of you, tearing himself apart, you almost want it to work quicker, which is a horrible thing to say, but you can't really help it, you know, when you're in that sort of situation. But actually watching it work on him, it's not nice. You feel like you're just putting him down.
Yeah.
I remember many moons ago seeing someone carrying it at a rave, and it was this long orange tablet, really big. And I was like, what the hell is that? You know, back in those days, people would get out whatever in the baggie. Like, yeah, what have you got? Look at this.
Yeah.
And,
The Ramjets.
and I was like, what is that? And they said, oh, it's midazolam. It's metrazapine. It's antidepressant, antipsychotic. I was like, what the fuck have you got that at a rave for? It was a festival. He said, well, if someone has like taken too much psychedelics and they're having like a freak out or a bad trip and it's getting really serious, you give them this and it'll put them out. I was like, whoa.
That's like your anti-Schwab.
Yeah. So this is a red button, a stop button. And I was like, whoa, what, you carry that around? He goes, oh, well, he goes, the circles I roll in, it would be irresponsible not to.
Wow. It's essentially an EpiPen for the drug community.
Yeah, well, it's the opposite of an EpiPen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah.
It's depressing, though. Loads of people on drugs, man. Like everyone I know and care about, pretty much, they're all popping something or having some sort of prescription shit. And we can't seem to get away from it. We're trying a lot of natural things, we're trying a lot of different things out.
The thing is, right, Hog Down Much, I totally agree with everything you've just said, right? The thing is, with people, on the whole, they don't. It's easier for them to just pop a pill prescribed by some dude in a white coat who's been to some fucking indoctrination university, rather than actually sort the diet out, do some exercise, do some meditation, and actually, you know, live a good life. It's easier just to go and get your...
Everyone's being groomed, though. What do you think? Why do you think for the last 10 years, every other word out of the peasant box has been mental health?
Yeah.
And another thing, Lance, that in the 60s when they started introducing all these drugs and what have you, and then the 80s, the second summer of love, that introduced everybody to realising that drugs actually work. So you actually bought in, unknowingly, you bought into pharmaceuticals because they actually worked. So you still, but from the dark side, they're introducing you to this side.
It's very funny you should mention that, Dom, because that is exactly what the talk that Mark Devlin is going to do at
the infiltration of the
RAsummit. I almost said Equinox. It's about how the second summer of love in 1988 in the UK predominantly was just as much as I won't ruin it too much, but just as infiltrated and controlled as
a manufactured operation.
Yeah. Because I'm not going to lie, I
don't know if you saw the Huxley Brave New World Order first one we did, where we used the smiley face symbology that was because it linked into the Huxleys because the guy that drew the face died in 1963. So did the Huxleys, and also it was used for acid. Pardon?
You say about it was in the Watchmen as well.
It was in the Watchmen, Utopia,
Clock Time on Facebook.
Yeah. So we
before the smiley face in a big thing.
Yeah, like the smiley face, Dom, that was plastered everywhere. Like on ecstasy tablets, people had it on clothing.
Exactly, and Chris worked out that Nirvana had a smiley face, but it was a dead smiley face with crosses on its
with
eyes.
the X's, yeah.
Yeah, but it also had a dent in its head. If you look up Nirvana's logo, the actual head has a dent in like he's been shot in the head.
Pre-peasant programming. Again.
Just
like
to
the
dissolve
Philip
your brain.
Schofield and the Radio Times. Exactly the same. I'm absolutely convinced that's exactly what they don't care if anyone says I'm mad.
There's too many coincidences for it to be a coincidence, Lance.
Of course. But let's go back to what I was saying about a minute ago, because we're talking about, the pharmacology of what's going on. I seriously think that we here in the UK, if we look at America's clearly always like the test ground and the model for this stuff. And since like the late 80s, America has been so heavily dosed on psychoactive drugs to way past what most people can comprehend. If you do, you've done your homework,
For their medicine cabinet, didn't they? In America.
Yeah, and we were miles, and in Europe as well, miles behind them. I remember back in 2011, 2012, I was getting to know a lot of Australians, because I was spending all the time in Southeast Asia emceeing at the big parties there, and everyone was Australian or Swedish. And they were saying to me, you know, in these after parties and these chats, he's saying, you know, in Oz or down under, or they said that, you know, everyone is getting prescribed it willy-nilly. They were describing the situation just like America. And I said, well, it's not like that in the UK. We seem to be behind you guys. And now, 10 years later down the line, I can see exactly what's happened. Every time I was watching on the Peasant Box, you know, all these adverts that were just popping up on you know, in between these commercials selling you things. What is an advert about mental health? What does the government really care about your mental health that much to be spending an advert on it? What kind of world do you live in? You think that's the case? No way.
I just want to make a point about pharmaceuticals for a second, yeah? I do say to a lot of my normal mates and stuff and people I work with and that. I say, like, just think about your pharmacology. Just think about any sort of therapeutic, any pill, yeah? How much of that pill is actually active ingredients? All right, that's the first thing. We're talking milligrams normally. So how much is a milligram of something? Yeah, and how much, you know, cells and tissue and all the rest of it is in the human body? But you tell me just these little milligrams make such a huge difference to the human body, yeah? And what's it do? Does the actual drug do it? The body does the work.
Yeah.
Your body is the miracle. That is the God-given miracle. It does all the work through spirit. It's just a tiny little stimulus you're giving it to make it do what it's got to do. So you tell me you can't do that yourself?
Yeah, but again, we're back to the conversation about people eating correctly, having the right lifestyle, where people just aren't. They're fucked.
I mean, if something so tiny can work in milligrams, well, homeopathy don't work either then. Essence don't work. I mean, changing an attitude don't work. Changing a lifestyle, doing so. Of course it fucking works, man. People have to get into their physiology. They have to start reconnecting with their physiology and their spirit.
Yeah, because that's the thing. When you take a drug, that drug doesn't contain any dopamine or serotonin.
Exactly.
You have a pile of cocaine or heroin, right? Homer Beats is in the house.
Homer Queef.
That pile of cocaine or heroin or speed or whatever doesn't contain serotonin or dopamine. It's not in the chemical compound.
Reset, man. Just stimulating it to do something. That's what it is.
Yeah. Those are the only things we enjoy is dopamine, serotonin, and adrenaline can be enjoyed, I guess.
Your adrenaline. There's another one I can never say the name of. It's,
adrenaline is one of the worst possible things to destroy your brain. The release of adrenaline. That's why police and military are so fucked. If you actually look into the so-called science, like whatever that means to you, settled science, whatever. There's plenty of articles from renowned neurosurgeons and people like that know about the human brain, that like the release of adrenaline is the absolute worst thing to deteriorate your brain in multiple ways.
Ultimate trauma-based mind control.
Yeah, and it destroys neurons and like for your brain to fire the correct. And you end up living in fight or flight all the time.
It's meant for a short hit, isn't it?
Yeah. But you think police and military all the time, what are they taught? Everyone's fucking out to get you all the time. You need to always be on your guard. You're fucked all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're showing them all this traumatic stuff, like what I was saying earlier about the training programs that they go through, where they get. I hate to think what people like the military go through.
Do you think
police are getting people getting showed footage of like deaths in war, like what that does to the human anatomy in the military.
Do you think the mainstream media might do the same thing though to make people constantly pumping out adrenaline? Like look at some of the Clown World headlines that we're putting out.
Yeah, this is just a milder version. Like,
well, if it's either fear or anger, because whether it's you look at this one, this bit here, or we're talking about some rainbow warrior reading stories to kids. Whether you're getting angry at it or you're scared of it, that could still be producing adrenaline.
Yeah.
The guy that sits there and gets pissed off at the drag queen is the same.
I think.
Sorry, what did you say?
Energy harvesting.
Go piss in that suit, mister. That's what I think. I see them people in fucking suits. Jesus.
What?
You know what I mean?
These ones there.
Well, it might have gone from the screen for a little while.
I know. I just put it back. I mean, look at them all lined up.
In their uni form, yeah, their one form.
I mean, that don't invoke fear of me or any of us lot, I'm sure. We look at it and think, what the
Mate,
fuck
these are
is
the
that?
worst type of people. These guys are pussies, man. They're just order followers.
Maybe
All
they're
bought
not
the same
even people.
What's going on, man?
These are soulless. Fucking
Well, if you were
meat
going to
suits.
deploy a clone army, this would be the time to do it, wouldn't it? In hazmat suits. So
It looks like the clone army, doesn't it?
yeah, exactly. That's what I thought when I first screenshotted this. It looks exactly like what was it? Attack of the Clones.
Looks like they got their fucking preschool lunchbox there next to them.
You don't want to eat from that lunchbox, comrade,
Right.
not at all.
It's Thomas the Tank Engine on the other side of it.
Yeah. Fucking Fisher Price.
So China announces a new strain.
She's seen that one, the rat.
Could infect 65 million peasants.
Not 66.
Not in total. That's just per week. And imminent launch of 2 new Britney Spears tour dates.
Obviously, you need that to prop it all up, don't you?
Yeah.
You can't believe they're still going on about this, can you?
Oh, mate, they'll string it out as long as the peasantry
This
will
is
eat
3
it up,
weeks
mate.
old. This is 3 weeks old. This is.
It's clinically proven to not work and not stop transmission, yet people are still thinking about it.
Well,
I mean,
that's
what
why
a
they
joke.
need a new one, of course.
It's probably the worst quack scene in history, isn't it? It really is.
And then this was, when was this? This is, within 4 days of this announcement on the left in China, there was a COVID outbreak in a conference of the Central Demon Control Center. It affected 181 people. Every single one of those people had previously been to most of, or at least one of the Britney Spears concerts. More evidence that Britney Spears increases your risk of infection, according to Dr. Panda. That was the best person they could get to be anti-narrative.
Matt just pointed out Dr. Propaganda. Panda.
Yeah, Dr. Propaganda, yeah.
Yes, proper Panda.
Look a little bit Squid Games as well, they do, don't they?
Very Squid Games,
Which was
absolutely.
that was pushed on the populace, wasn't it?
Yep. Most popular thing on TV for like decades. That was.
But it was advertised in the news, wasn't it, when it came out? You were told to watch it, you know.
Thing is that I remember when that came out, and I can't remember where I was, but I was on a job somewhere. I can't remember if it was combat sports or music, probably combat sports. And I was around some normies in a drink setting, and they were talking, and they seemed like a little bit open to certain stuff, and they're talking about how cool Squid Game was. And I said, do you know what the sick thing about Squid Game is? They're saying what I was like, you do know that is not just based on true stories. I was like, that kind of thing in high level Asian societies is quite documented. Like
This is sport.
This stuff is 100% real. They're like, no way. I was like, yeah, of course. You could, if you wanted to do 5 minutes of research, you would find loads of accounts of people getting abducted for this kind of stuff. Then they were properly. There's a couple of them who were like, no way. And I think I do believe they were fighters and stuff. And they were like, no way, no way. And they were proper shocked that I would like to openly suggest it. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Are you joking? Where do you think they got the idea for that?
Also, do you know those injections you got? Yeah, that was genocide.
yeah.
Don't mean to break it.
It don't beat about bush, Andy, does it?
Well, I just say how it is. Mate, there's no time left to beat around.
I'm
the
sure
bush.
you've got
Come
some
on, let's be
Yorkshire in
honest.
you. Yeah.
It's too
Yeah,
late.
so
Lost the sound.
you lost us. Can you hear us? No, I think he's fumbling around with the connection.
Hog down Munch, come in.
Connection lost.
Connection lost. Bump him out, get him to call back.
Get lost there.
Get lost. So within the space of 2 weeks, after that, no, actually, what am I talking about? 26th of May, same week. I won't pronounce it. Sky Coviet, Britney Spears tour date authorised by the MHRA. Sounds a lot like Skynet to me. A special Skynet Britney Spears tour date. Wow. Okay, so that's what it's going to be called in the UK, the new Britney Spears tour. And then it came back into the news sphere also. And I know I put a lot of random things together sometimes, but I do think there's a bit of method to the madness, the way I pastiche these together, because I think they are linked. Blackstone to acquire Ancestry.com for $4.7 billion. This is an old story from 2021, but it's come back into the sphere in the last month or so. total ownership of all DNA from every person who's ever used the service. Wow. So, is the net tightening? Are we getting like sort of rounded up for a second move of the Soviet Union?
We've got a call coming in. Oh, okay, it's all done.
Just nudge everybody in the direction they want to nudge them in.
Another nudge is on the way. Another big nudge.
Hogged, how much you there, comrade?
Yeah, sorry, dude. Lost connection. I think the battery's on the way home. But I think I'll probably leave the line free for someone else anyway. Now, just to say rise above and cheers.
Cool, that's great to hear from you.
Cheers, mate.
Respect, bruv. Take care, mate.
Take care.
Dom, should we have your fact checker?
Yeah, let's have a flick through it. I mean, we're getting a bit late now because we've been chatting, haven't we? But we can have a flick through, can't we?
We can have a flick through. All right. But mate, that's the way one of these shows should be. We get carried away with the chat, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
So we've been talking about Clown World tonight, which is obviously thick with perverse lies, prominent lies. We've been trying to cut through the bullshit and having a little bit of a laugh on the way. But what is happening under the surface, and what is the counter preparedness through the narrative makers? Dom, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought, how many fact-checking companies are there in the world? Well, these two are the main ones, probably. I thought Rise Above and Sheep Farm.
We are the fact checkers, mate.
Yeah, we're the fact checkers. But there are about 100 fact-checking organisations. And from Wikipedia, it's actually got a Wikipedia page about this. And it said the list of fact-checking websites includes websites that provide fact-checking services for both political and non-political subjects. The Reporters Lab at Duke University, the Dukes were in trading places, weren't they? That were them, maintains a database of fact-checking organisations. And the database tracks more than 100 non-partisan organisations around the world. The criteria are based on whether the organisation examines all parties and sides, examines discrete claims and reaches conclusions, tracks potential political promises, and is transparent about sources and methods, and discloses funding and affiliations. Now, how many of those do you think there really actually are in reality? Most of these people are funded by the same usual suspects that all the World Economic Forum's funded by, etc., etc. And when you dig into it, you just see that it's just another one of those cons. Just go to that next picture, Lance.
Like what we were talking about earlier on, we're going to see everything that we expect. It's like usual suspects time, right?
Yeah, usual suspects. So now we've come to Mariana there, which looks like she's got butterfly wings there. Anyway. So there are several fact checkers in the UK. There's BBC Reality Check, although they've just launched this Verify thing. Their fact check is called Reality Check. There's Fact Check Northern Ireland, or Fact Check NI, the first independent dedicated fact checking service for Northern Ireland. There's a fact checking blog, which is run by Channel 4, and there's Ferret Fact Service, which is Scotland's first fact checker. And with it, that was a grant set up by a grant from Google Digital News Initiative. So I picked two out. If you just click to the next one. That's her in Conspiracy Land looking down Alice's Wonderland.
Very fitting.
Yeah, odd, isn't it? So I just thought, what is truth and fact are two different things, and so I thought I'd pull out what fact, actual meaning of fact is. So a fact is a thing that is known or proved to be true. When that word in there tells you that there's something not quite right with it. A fact is information used as evidence or as part of a report or news article. A bit like weapons of mass destruction was, which didn't turn out to be true. So they can bump facts up to look like truth, basically. It also means the truth about events as opposed to interpretation. So look at Boris Johnson. I mean, we knew he was a liar from the beginning. Most people knew he was a liar before he got into power. And in law, a fact is a statement that can be verified. So if you ask the Birmingham Six whether their facts that they got sent down for were true, I think the truth is that they got released, so it wasn't true. So they're using words, again, this Twilight language that they're using, that actually don't mean anything. They're empty, aren't they? You want to flick the picture forward, Lance? Might go to a couple, actually. Go on again. Forward, if you can.
That one, Dom?
Other way, mate. Other way. Go on, keep going. I don't know where you've gone to there.
Which way are we going here? That was the next one on from this.
Yeah, after. Go on. Again. Ah, that one. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
No, sorry, back to Yuri Bezmenov.
Yuri Bezmenov, there he is.
Yeah. So, I mean, we were talking about him early, weren't we? And these pictures here and what he explains, basically, I know a lot of people have spoke about this over the years, but these are happening now, aren't they? This.
Yeah, he called this, man.
Yeah.
Nail on the head.
But did you know, Andy, right, and it's coming out in the next Orwell one, or a couple of Orwell ones, that Yuri Bezmenov, so going back to the Beatles, who were in the second Brave New World Order, Twilight Language, we covered that the gurus came from prominent families. So all the gurus that were working with all these pop stars and what have you, all came from prominent. So they all came from a lineage of landed gentry, or and then they were educated in Oxford, and then went back part of the British Raj, worked for the embassies in India as well. And I found some interesting information that Yuri Bezmenov was stationed in the KGB in India in 1968, and he befriended the same yogi that was teaching the Beatles.
Okay, so you got a connection there.
Yeah.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
One of the most influential bands.
Yes.
Over the years.
The Maharesh yogi.
Something closely related to the military-industrial complex.
There's pictures of him sat with the same guy that was sat with the Beatles in 1968. So, yeah, interesting. So all these statements that he came out with here, and you could have found more than these, all turn out to be true. So we'll go to the next picture. So the two main the other way.
Sorry, Dom.
It's all right, buddy. Yeah, we'll go again.
That way.
Yeah, that way. So the two main ones I looked at, these are English or British fact-checking organisation. Logically. Go to the next picture. Yeah.
Censorship
companies. And the next one, mate. Sorry. So this guy here founded Logically, and here he is at a TED conference giving a speech. And I think the next picture is with our friend Elon Musk as well.
Enki Musk.
Robo Musk. He's called Lyric Jan, Jain, and he founded Logically in 2017. Janice, and he was at he first began identifying opportunities for early inventions at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, the MIT, which is basically DARPA or the CIA.
Yeah, sure.
And he got a grant from there to set Logically up, and he in what they call a seed round in 2019, and he raised £7 million to set this fact-checking company up just before everything materialised in 2020.
91 came out to play.
Yes.
So, guys, 7 million, no expense spared.
Yeah, and it's been used to disprove the technology that came out. The new mobile phone technology was connected to arm spear tracking.
Sure.
Yeah. In March 2021, it began selling its services to governments and NGOs. The company claims its software categorises disinformation narratives as they are being woven. Logically is one of the many companies hired by TikTok and works to curtail disinformation on the social network.
So basically, that is the long arm of Al Gore.
So, guys, if you had $7 million or pounds, whatever, would you start a fact-checking company?
Well, you know,
or would you probably sink that money into something else?
It's odd because Chris mentioned that. He says, "Who sits around thinking,
yeah,
I'm going to come up with a disinformation checking corporation?" This is new world, is this, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, man.
And he says he came up with this because he said his grandmother died, and his grandmother's decided to use misinformation before she died to get alternative treatment for a pancreatic cancer.
She decided to use misinformation before she died.
They've
Just
swabbed
think about
together
that.
the medical industry there and like holistic or.
Didn't he have another story as well? Wasn't there another story in Wikipedia?
Yeah. But he what he's saying is that the misinformation basically killed his grandma.
Right.
And
again, all in the name of safety, Dom.
Yeah. He also said that it was about. He started wanting to. The US presidential election in 2016, he realised there was a lot of misinformation in that as well. So this is why he set the company up, he said. He came up with an idea to track people's words or what have you. And he's working for all the organisations that we think. The BBC has cited Logically's research in tracking the rise of pro-Russian accounts linking Ukraine to Nazi ideology. So the things we know that the Ukrainian Azov battalion or whatever they're called.
Yeah, actual facts.
Actual truth, not facts, truth. They're now producing facts to prove it wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Are we now drawing a distinct line between between the truth and the new definition of a fact, the Clownwell definition of a fact?
Yeah. Well, a fact is
AIX is not.
Sorry, bomb drop. We need to press a bomb. Because I think that's maybe quite an important moment to make that definition.
100%, because a fact is used as evidence to find the truth.
It's settled
It's not
science,
the
Dom,
truth.
mate.
Pardon?
It's settled science, mate.
Yeah, settled science. Yeah.
Well, you use facts to prove science, right?
Yeah. So Logically, after being in business 2 or 3 years, are now in partnership with Facebook for fact-checking information on its platform. Logically was paid more than 1.2 million by the UK government to analyse disinformation terms alongside its partnership with Facebook.
Well, I mean, it's a natural progression to move to a communist site such as Facebook if you're into communism, like this dude obviously is.
Exactly. Social commie fascism.
Yeah.
Literal algorithm in action. This is what's listening to us. This is what gives us, the restrictions. I don't even want to like using the word that sounds like bike anymore.
Yeah, exactly. In June 2020, listen to this: the International Fact-Checking Network certified Logically as a fact checker. The certification was renewed in September 2021 and January 2023. So there's actually next picture, Lance, please.
So the fact checking association, they've got like they're self-certified.
Yeah. Now this is I just put a few of these on about the MIT being linked to the CIA and DARPA getting federal money. So the money that they're investing into these companies is coming from using. Chris always goes on about where did the touchscreen come from? They've been given this technology. He's using AI technology, which he can't have invented, yeah, and alone. So that they now are using military-grade tech,
yeah,
to scrape these social networks. Next picture, Lance, please. Or next one after this. We'll flick through them a bit quicker. Yeah, that's proof that the DARPA do give grants. Next one, mate, please, if you can. That's it. So, the International Fact-Checking Network is actually called the Poynter Institute. And it was set up by Nelson and Henrietta Poynter. And they met while working on Franklin D. Roosevelt's re-election campaign in 1940. And they collaborated on projects for the US Office of War Information during World War II. And they started up the chief for the Voice of America. So the program chief for the Voice of America. That was basically a propaganda arm of the American military. And they're sponsoring the International Fact-Checking Network.
So let's be real. This algor technology that is now listening to us right now and trawling through Facebook posts and etc., that has been used by the military for at least a couple of decades.
Shout out to Al Gore.
To strategize, to work out attack plans. We've covered that already, and I know you guys have looked into that technology as well. Yeah. So now, all of the Alex Jones crazy right-wing stuff about all the military technology being deployed against us is all obviously completely true.
Yeah, and so this is an NGO, another NGO, the Poynter Institute, funded by all the usual cretins. Google are involved, Facebook are involved, and other technology companies. Yeah. And so, next picture, please, Hans. We'll go on to full fact. It's an interesting. Yeah. Next one, please. Oh, sorry. This is the funders. These are the funders.
Oh wow.
So we've got Bitch Tits and Melinda Gates Foundation, and all these other ones. Charles Koch. Yeah. Lumina. That's another big sort of left organisation. Open Society. Media Networks. He was the guy that founded eBay. TikTok. WhatsApp. Washington Post.
Meta platforms.
Microsoft. Google Labs.
It's all
Google
there, guys.
News Lab.
All your favourites.
So
Soros.
these are the ones that are funding the licenses for the fact checkers.
Wow. Is AARP anything to do with HARP? If you put
No, it's the American something or other. I forget what it is now. No, it's not HARP. I got a bit excited when I saw that as well, but no. Yeah, the next one, please. I mean, this is right in front of your face. So
literally the who's who.
The who's who of who it is. Yeah. So
For
fact check.
philanthropists.
Just look at their motto there. Bad information ruins lives, it promotes hate, damages people's health, and hurts democracy.
We must protect our democracy.
Yeah, classic doublespeak.
This is a threat to our democracy.
Yeah. Interesting, the word. They're apparently described as an independent fact-checking organisation based in the UK, which aims to promote accuracy in public debate. Launched in 2009. They need to look up what the word independent means, actually, because it means free from outside control, not depending on another for livelihood.
Apart from the funding for Bill Gates and George Soros.
Yeah.
In 2009, fact to come into fruition in 2020.
I wonder,
11
right?
years.
I wonder what the criteria is from Health Chancellor Gates and George Soros.
Yeah, what they've got to.
We've got a call coming in.
We have got a call. We better answer it. It's customer services. RASummit. Welcome to Rise Above.
Hey, Lance. It's Jav.
How you doing? All right?
I'm good, yeah. Am I actually live on the show?
You certainly are live on the show. Just treat it like a phone call, mate. But please don't say the C or the V word.
Oh, okay, yeah. That was a delay on the isn't there?
How long have you been watching Rise Above for?
On and off about probably near the start. So, yeah, late 2020 again.
Fair play,
So
mate.
you're a bit of a veteran.
Yeah, I don't watch it every week, but yeah, on and off.
That's fine. We don't expect everyone to gorge every single week. It can get a lot.
After all, we're not a cult.
Yeah, it's not a cult or anything. So,
true, yeah.
how are you finding Clan World at the moment? Have you got any interesting stories or gripes or rants to bring to the table?
Well, I didn't actually meet anybody about in the clown world in 2020 because I was sort of had personal stuff to deal with. But in 2021, I've been essentially awake since 2009, and I realised there was groups meeting up in 2021, and I went to a local meetup in Chesterfield. I live in Sheffield. I'm a Mancunian in Sheffield, and I think with the whole Britney Spears coming out, I basically did a lot of science research before that, many years before, and so I started giving presentations on the randomized control trial when it came out. And then when the NHS mandate hit, I was giving presentations to NHS staff for their Q&As to explain why they didn't want it. And
interesting.
I was essentially training them up to. I used to ask them for their questions. What you're going to ask to explain why you don't want it, and I'd whittle it down to one question. And then to the point where I was on a call with one of the NHS staff. I was on his internet call with, I think there were about 100 of the people on the call. it was like a group Q&A with a microbiologist. So it's an interesting, because I'm a layman. I'm not a scientist per se, but I've got an engineering background.
It sounds like you were sort of on the front line with the debate and the argument that was raging through 2021.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the mandate for the NHS was early 2022,
right.
But it built up to that point. It was interesting to have the debate live with a microbiologist, because on the NHS panel they had a microbiologist who was the expert for the Britney Spears, and so when it got down to explaining what we're here for, because in science there's a hierarchy, and the RCT is the causative experiment to undertake. And anything below that is just a signal to. So let's say I used to ask people, "What's the best evidence why you're not taking it?" And people will list stuff like the yellow card data and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but that's not evidence.
No, that's just what's being reported.
Exactly. They're only signals in order to conduct a hypothesis to test for. And in order to test that hypothesis, you have to conduct the RCT. And that determines the causation. So if you have a signal in the yellow card, you have to conduct the RCT in order to determine if the signal is true. That makes sense?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So that's why the government, that's why the MHRA, they sign off the RCT first, and then once they did that in December 2020, only then did they give the Britney Spears to the public. So remember in 2020 December, early December, and on the news it was 95% effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was true, but they never explain what it's effective for.
I think we're seeing what it's effective for now.
When you
safe and effective, comrade.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they have to continue the RCT to monitor the effectiveness, but they define. So they said it's 95% effective for reducing C19. So am I all right saying that?
Probably
C9?
not. Just say the people's pandemic or something like that.
Okay. Or what about Divic 91?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, exactly. There you go.
Okay. Right. Okay. So when they said it was 95% effective at reducing Divic 91, that's true. But when you look at the document, they define Divic 91 specifically. So that's why definitions matter.
So you're talking about like some sort of like word magic sophistry
More
here.
Twilight language.
Yeah. I absolutely resonate with what you're saying, because when I was doing my sort of like super hardcore 36-hour deep dives into this stuff, all in sort of mid-2020, early 2020, when all the information was being spewed out, the first thing I went for was the definition of what Divic 91 actually was. And then I realised that there was this SARS, Bars Hovis II. Right?
Nice.
Yeah, you like that one, Bars Hovis II. Then I was like, well, wait a minute. What was the difference between Bars Hovis II and Divic 91? Because Bars Hovis II is allegedly like some sort of like hybrid of Bars Hovis III.
It's the same shit.
But Divic 91 was actually something different in its terminology and the way it was described. It was like the disease caused by Bars Hovis II. We're not talking about the same thing.
That's right. That's the same. Yeah, the definition's true. So a lot of people conflate the two things. They conflate the D91 with can I say SC2?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so a lot of people they use D91 when they really mean SC2.
Right, and did you also? I'm totally with you here. But did you also notice that at one point, Jav, they stopped saying Divock 91, and all of a sudden it was the Crown Highness.
Yes.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And it was also at the same time when they stopped talking about the peasant mortality rate and they started talking about faces.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
So what was that last thing you just said? Started talking about what?
At first, when they were counting Divock 91, they were counting the peasant fatality rate, the deaths. But when as soon as they started talking about the Crown Highness, it was always about cases. I'm just being super careful.
The amount of reports.
And also both of them, one of them was 9 in numerology and one was 11.
Oh yeah, so you got it again, and there was a 666 breakdown that I saw done on the Crown Highness word as well.
The numbers were all over it at the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, I'm actually glad you've called in, Jav, and I really respect your level of Ralphabet
understanding.
Understanding to be able to, because we have obviously this is quite detailed stuff we're talking about, and we couldn't openly talk about it. But yeah.
Yeah. But I mean that RCT is key because they defined 91 as a positive PCR and one or more symptom, and the symptom list was like cough, sore throat, etc., that kind of thing. So. And the 95% was relative. So in the trial, we're just talking about the Pfizer.
Michelle.
In Michelle, sorry. That's like double think every time you speak.
Of course.
All right. So I mean, in the trial there was like 22,000 in the needle group. There's 22,000 in the placebo group.
I like what you've done there.
And the good thing about the trial, I know it's flawed in other ways, but at least they used a placebo, which is very rare in needle studies. So that was the good thing. So, but because even though there's 22,000 in each group, the outcome of 91 symptom was 162 in the placebo and 8 in the needle. So just those two small numbers, the percentage difference between those two is 95%. So it disregards the other almost 22,000 people in each group.
Because if you think about it, if you take a group of 22,000, two different groups of 22,000 people, and then you counted any one of something with a crappy test and any one of those very broad symptoms, well, those numbers you just mentioned there, 22 or 160, that's like they're just 160 or whatever. They're tiny numbers compared to the other 22,000. It's pretty meaningless.
Yeah, well, so the absolute percentage difference was 0.84%. That's when you incorporate the 22,000 with each side. So that's the real effectiveness is 0.84% at reducing a cough.
Wow.
So you don't need a needle to reduce a cough.
Great insights that we're having here on the customer services show.
Yeah. So behind it, this is like backstage at the Britney Spears concert talk, isn't it?
That's why their definitions matter. Because once you realise their definition of 91, it makes sense.
So maybe that's how these fact checkers can actually work and do what they do. And like Dom has just pointed out here, this is the difference between facts and the truth.
Yeah.
Because facts in clown world are not the truth. It's a clown world.
That's why men can have babies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and produce a
Well,
milk-like
yeah.
substance.
Yeah.
I mean,
You just think, guys, if you've got enough nanotech inside you, you can produce a baby.
If you've got enough nano milk.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, bollocks.
I mean, the facts that are based on the definition. That's the key to everything in terms of the facts.
Yeah.
You know, with the BBC have come out and verify Mariana Spring and all that.
BBC Verify, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to verify something in science specifically is to use the scientific method.
Of discovery, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, even like BBC Bite Size Key Stage 3, they've got a page on the scientific method. So as soon as she announced the Verify system, I just posted a tweet out with a screen grab of Key Stage 3 and I go, are you going to use this to verify the science?
Settled science,
Fair
comrades.
play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually following the science.
Yeah.
Properly
Combating the
science.
COVID union.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the distinction between science and pseudoscience is the use of the scientific method. So if you don't use a scientific method, that's classed as pseudoscience.
Yeah, and if you start changing the definitions and even controlling the definitions of what things are, let alone the definition of what a fact is, then, you know, the scientific method sort of goes out the window even further because you're controlling the definitions of the understanding of the results of something that you're not even using properly.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Or if
I
you
think the
question
scientific
TV
method
science, question TV science.
is so well established. It's so well established, the scientific method. I mean, they don't use it very often in other disciplines, but they do in disciplines you don't hear about, like, say, physics and chemistry and that kind of thing. But when it comes to the medical industry and the prerequisites, like virology before it, they don't use it. And that's when it's pseudoscience, but because they're presented in papers and published journals.
We've got to be careful.
We might be getting into some M&M here.
Yeah, we don't want to sound like Marshall Mathers. But yeah, no, we're totally with what you're saying. I'm just careful about questioning the spiral method.
It's great. It's great to hear someone who's got a backstage pass to the Britney Spears tour, though.
No, and it sounds like you've done some good work there, and of actually, you know, combating the sophistry at its source. Because at the end of the day,
we could do an exercise on the scientific method because it's very easy to explain. So we can do it like you can just pick someone in the room now, and we'll go through it. So let's say, like, you take let's say you're walking down in a park, and then you hear a bang, and then you come across a body on the floor, and it's got a hole in the body in its chest. So the first step of the scientific method is you observe something in the natural phenomena in nature. So you stumble across a dude with a hole in his chest, and you've heard a bang. So you come up with your first hypothesis is going to be. So let's pick Lance. What's your first hypothesis?
Well, my first hypothesis would be maybe he's been hit by a projectile. So I guess I'd sort of
Someone's been murked with a hollow point.
I would sort of look. Maybe the first thing I'd do is look for a projectile in the wound, or look for evidence of a projectile.
Well, that comes a bit after, but
all right, yeah, I'd guess he'd been shot. I guess.
Yeah, so that's your hypothesis. So now you got to test that hypothesis. So in order to test it, you got to have the shot, which is the independent variable. So that'll be the bullet, obviously with a gun. But then you got to. That's the only thing you can have. You can only have one single independent variable, and then you got to have a control as well. So the control would be a negative control, which would be everything but the bullet. So it would be like a blank bullet. And then everything stays the same in the scenario. So I know it sounds absurd, but you'd get a person or an animal. All the test conditions are the same, so it's the same arena or the same field. And one animal gets a bullet, another animal gets a blank bullet. Because you need to rule out the fact that there could be other things that could have caused the same situation.
With regards
even
to the
though it
bang,
sounds absurd. Yeah, like the bang could have created such a shock in the animal or human's head, and they might have just died with a hole in their chest. You need to rule that out.
Or a
And
blank,
that's what
a
the
blank
control's for.
can give such a flash that it could cause a wound.
Yeah.
And still kill someone, and there might not be a projectile. That's why you have flashbangs, flash guards on the end of rifles when you do training. I know that from
Exactly. And so that's how you do it. So you need to test for the things to refute, because someone else might come along. If you didn't do the blank control section, someone might go, well, how do you know that even just the fright of the sound might have caused them to drop dead? You need to rule those things out by doing that control. So so everything but the independent variable, which is the bullet, everything else is called dependent variables, which is all fixed. It's the same distance, the same temperature in the room, etc. Everything else is fixed. The only thing you change is that bullet. That makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
That's the variable.
Yeah, that's the independent variable. So it's independent variable and then dependent variable. And then the outcome matches your hypothesis. Now your hypothesis becomes true, and now it becomes a scientific theory. So that's the order things happen. Observe, hypothesize, test it becomes true, then it becomes theory. Because later down the line, there might be another variable that you've not considered. That's why science always stays at the theory level.
Right. Yeah, because then someone can come along with and sort of disprove or attempt to disprove that theory with another hypothesis and another
That's
set
right.
of evidence.
But the science changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it changes. It only changes by coming up with another thing in the experimental setup that you've not thought about.
Yeah, so it shows that really all throughout the Soviet Union, the scientific method basically hasn't been applied barely once.
No, so they didn't apply it. They haven't applied it since 1954. Well, since... All right, let's think of it like this. There's the same scenario with you've come across with a dead body in the grass, right? So you've heard a bang and you come across with a body with a hole in its chest. Right. So let's say it's 3000 BC. So what's your hypothesis going to be 3,000 years ago?
Yeah, good point.
So if let's say Andy PG 3,000 years ago, he goes, I think there's this thing in my imagination called a gun with a bullet, and everyone else go, you're a nutcase. What are you on about? That wouldn't be your hypothesis because it's not within your lexicon of understanding a gun.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
So,
It'd be more prominent that a woolly mammoth has come and stabbed me with his tusk.
In that case, the bang could almost... The bang's almost like a bit of a red herring. It could almost contaminate a more logical hypothesis in the absence of the bang.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. And so when they came up with the spiky ball hypothesis,
Spiky ball.
The spiky ball hypothesis. You're with me.
Yep, I love that.
Yeah, the nano ball.
Yep. Pretty picture.
So, yeah, they came up with that hypothesis without even the lexicon of understanding being in existence first. So it's like saying 3,000 years ago, I think a bullet killed that guy.
Great perspective.
Yeah, I'm just unpacking that.
Yeah.
Because I've heard it, and I'm just going to have to develop some new alphabet off the cuff here. I've heard it that the people's pandemic was essentially
in the modern day.
Gone.
Let's say in the modern day there are guns. So you came across in the field, there's a guy with a hole in his chest. So most people would go, he's been shot. But what if Andy PG went, I think a unicorn came and stabbed it with its horn, and that's why it's got a hole in its chest.
I mean, that's more likely.
It's a 1 in a million chance. Yeah, so it's a 1 in a million chance someone's going to say that.
And the bang was just coincidental.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It could have been. No, that's what the unicorn makes vocally when it does the action.
So when it breaks the sound barrier, when its horn breaks the sound barrier just before it pierces you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, that's a hypothesis until it's proven or disproven.
Yeah, but the reason why you can't have that as a hypothesis is because in nature, you have no idea of a unicorn existing.
Well, not just that. A unicorn's not an unknown. It's actually known to be a mythical creature. So it's like if someone said, I got abducted by aliens, or, I got assaulted by a yeti.
Yeah, okay. Good point. Very good point. So even in the mind, the unicorn exists, even though we know it doesn't exist. So, all right, Andy PG will just have to say something like, I think you have to make up something there and then, which will be a total fantasy. So it can't be a hypothesis, because a hypothesis requires a known variable.
Actually, no. The unicorn is good, because the unicorn, if we're using it as a metaphor for the crown highness, the idea of a highness is already in the human psyche, whether it's real or not.
Yes.
So I apologise. Okay. Let me double retract that. The unicorn was actually the right analogy, because whether the unicorn exists or not, everyone knows what a fucking unicorn is, don't they?
Even if it's fictitious.
Yeah, even if they know it's not real.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's already built in the mind's eye without even knowing it exists.
Interesting concepts brought to the table.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Right, so that's why it can't even be the idea of this can't even be a hypothesis, because a hypothesis requires a known variable, like a bullet.
Right. Okay.
So that if we're talking backwards, so backwards, speaking backwards scientifically, is theory. The prerequisite for a theory is a hypothesis. The requirement for a hypothesis is an independent variable.
So what you're saying is the whole basis of the Soviet Union, everything it's built on,
is theoretical bullshit.
No, isn't even a theory. It's not even.
It's not a theory.
It's not even a hypothesis. It's something even lower than that.
It's a fairy tale. It's a fairy tale.
Wow. I've never actually heard it broken down like that. Thank you so much for calling in, because we can sit here and go, yeah, this is all bullshit. They use sophistry, but to actually
that's step by step.
That's actually broken it down.
Yeah.
So that the scientific.
This is going to make a great bite size.
Oh yeah, like a Slick Rick. This is you. That's a fantastic bite size. Yeah, so it really is true, based on what you've just said, that the scientific method.
Great callers tonight. We've got some great callers.
Yeah, tonight we've only had like 3 callers, but they've all been really good.
Yeah. Once you understand it, because a child can understand the scientific method. That's why it's in BBC Key Stage 3 bite size.
Yeah.
I bet, do you reckon they still show that? Or is that pre-COVID times when they were allowed to show that to kids?
Well, it's on their website.
Oh, it's still on there now? It's still on there today? Okay, right. Interesting.
Yeah. I replied to Mariana Spring. I just copied the screenshot of Key Stage 3 bite size.
Oh, right, it's still there.
Showing the scientific method, going, well, when you do verification of science, are you going to use your own BBC material?
That's brilliant.
Gosh.
I'm going to assume you didn't get a response from Mariana Spring.
No, I'm small fries. I'm not.
You're still waiting for that.
But well, who's that guy who was on a Rich Planet, Richard D. Hall's the guy who wrote The Mind Control, Neil Sanders.
Right.
Because he sort of interviewed her on his show. Because he's on her show, isn't he?
What, Mariana Spring?
Yeah, he was on her Panorama show, I think.
Right.
He wrote that Mind Control book. But he's trying to sort of debunk a lot of the conspiracy material as well.
Right. Yeah, I think he's jumped over the other side of the fence, hasn't he?
That's it. It's called Non-Dare Call It Conspiracy with another guy called Brent
Oh, wait a minute. I'm friends with this guy on Facebook.
Yeah, Neil Sanders. I am as well.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Oh, what? So is he like trying to? He's on the debunking tip now, is he?
Yeah.
Not sort of half and half. Half and half.
All right. So he straddles both sides of the fence.
Yeah,
I've heard
so
he does that as well.
Well, I don't. This is because I'm not into sides or fences or that kind of thing. I'd rather get to the heart of the matter. And
sure.
So, he's on Marianne's podcast, not the current one, but the last one. He was on that. I think he only got a few seconds though, didn't he? Said he got edited out mostly.
Right.
Anyway, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because there was, can I say the word midaz and lamb?
Just if you change it to Matt, and then say the last word.
Matt Dazzle.
Yeah, Matt Dazzler or something like that.
Matt Dazzler.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay. Well, someone used my on my Twitter. I've got a pinned post, and it's about that. It's a thread on that. And the first one's the BMJ article. Anyway, there's a high correlation with that drug and others. I don't know if any of you know about correlation numbers, but 1 is considered perfect. So a correlation of 1 is perfect, and you almost never get that in correlation studies. But high ones above like 0.5, 0.6, they're considered really significant. And if you watch Professor Fenton's stuff,
no,
that's kind of his bag. So
he put some good stuff out there, didn't he, Fenton? Put some really good stuff.
Say again.
He put some really good stuff out as Professor Fenton.
Oh yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, I posted that to him and his colleague, Professor Martin Neal. And Martin Neal said, he replied and he went, "It's on my to-do list." So he's gonna look at it. Anyway, the Matt Dazzler stuff, the correlation figure was 0.93. This is April 2020. The correlation between deaths and those drugs, which is ridiculous.
So that means 93%.
No. It don't quite work like that. It means it's a correlation of 0.93. You kind of can weirdly think of it like that.
So, there's a very high correlation that was almost 100%. I'm in the right way of thinking about it.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So it's called a Spearman's coefficient. Yeah, it's 0.93, which is literally very, very rare to get that high.
That's a positive correlation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To say the least, yeah.
We better wind it up, guys, I think.
Yeah. Dom, you've got to shoot, haven't you?
Dom needs his beauty sleep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't quite get to finish the full fact, but we'll
join up to the point.
We can save that for next time.
We got enough done tonight, I think, lads.
Yeah, mate.
I think we pondered it quite well tonight.
We had a little tour de force of the rabbit hole. Dom, great to speak to you, and big shout to Chris, who's already retired.
Yeah, thanks so much, man.
All right, rise above, mate.
All right, take care.
No, yeah, mate. I just want to say thank you very much for calling in. It's great to have someone that's actually, sort of dissected
Thinking
things
about this in this way.
Yeah, because like we say, we skip over a lot of the detail and we talk about the gist a lot and we have a laugh. But it's nice to hear the mechanics.
This is logically thinking fully out of the box.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if you think in court cases that they don't do dichotomies, so they let's say I don't know, pick one, flat v round earth, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have that in a court case, flat versus round. Just in the same way, you don't have Andy's the murderer and Lance's the murderer.
You have to do things one at a time.
Yeah, you do things so you do Andy versus not.
Yeah.
And then you move on to Lance versus not.
Yeah, you don't do was it Lance or was it Andy all in one go.
Exactly. So you do claimant versus refuter.
It was Michael.
Yeah. So you do the claimant has to bring the evidence.
Yeah.
And then
makes so much sense.
The other side. Yeah, and then the other side is the refuting of the claimed evidence. So there's refutation.
The antithesis.
And the funny thing is, it's like if you took the example which you used there, like is it flat or is it round? Like if either one of them wanted to try and claim their own side, they probably couldn't do it. All they can do is try and disprove the other side, which fuels the sort of Ouroboros style binary energy harvesting that carries on happening.
That's why they don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Because one's making a claim, and then the other side are making a claim. So you can't have a debate.
Yeah.
Because it's claim versus claim.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes
But
total
really,
sense.
the arena should be claim versus refuter.
Mm.
And that's how it should be. So let's say someone's going, Lance is the murderer in court, and then I I refute that claim using evidence and going through the claimant's evidence and showing how it's in the hierarchy of evidence it's poor. So let's say Lance's prosecutor is going, I've got 1,000 people that said they saw him. It doesn't matter because you can bring in like video and documentary evidence that you're on the other side of the world with another 1,000 people on the other side of the world.
That's
going,
why I use my double for that.
Yeah, but the documentary evidence is going to trump the witness evidence.
Every time, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right. Because witnesses can be picked apart. They
Variable.
They can be discredited. Whereas,
they can be paid off.
Yeah, they can be paid off. They can be killed. They can be silenced.
That's why there's an evidence hierarchy. So it doesn't matter if you have 60,000 witnesses going, I was there, I saw him. You only need one documentary evidence that will trump all those 60,000.
And now in the world of deep fakes and AI, that's going to really, really mix things up.
Oh yeah, big time, yeah. But and so if someone defends Lance and wins and goes, right, you didn't do it, you wouldn't have another side going, well, if you can't bring the actual murderer, we're just gonna stick with Lance doing it. Doesn't make sense. You can't. It's the whole thing with health. They're going, well, if that didn't cause the illness, what did cause your illness? And then you go, well, it doesn't matter. We just know it's not that.
Yeah, one thing at a time, comrade.
It's a separate argument. It's a separate court case.
No, I'm totally with you. Absolutely.
Great chatting to you tonight, my man.
Yes, was it Jav?
Jav, yeah.
Yeah, Jav.
We're better.
We've got to wrap it up. We've gone over a little bit. I was only supposed to do until midnight tonight. I want to say thank you very much for calling in. You've actually been a brilliant caller.
All the callers tonight have been great.
Yeah, I want to say,
great to dissect. Shout out to Sheep Farm for coming on tonight.
Yeah, but we do have to wrap it up there. It's gone a little bit later than we expected. So yeah, Jav, thanks very much for calling in, mate. Rise above.
Yeah, take care, man. Rise above.
Take care, mate.
Rise above, generate, rise above.
Okay. So like we told you guys before, we will be back next week with the mighty Archaics.
Wow.
Give me some fucking explosions or something. Yeah, Archaics is next week. After that,
Human Vibration with Lady Di. Tickets are available. RAsummit tickets are available right now. RiseAbove.tv. Guys, I will put on some Comprehend to play you out. See you next week.
Rise above.
I picked this beat cause it had a bit of 50s vibe. Guarantee I'm still igniting sheets when I'm 55. Used to smoke weed and was a whiskey guy. Climbing up the ladders of success, I'm at a risky height. I had a break and took a turn for the worse. I had to recalibrate and come return with a verse. Some people hate, I'm not concerned with their words, cause now I'm in a better place and feel determined to work. Your pen game is weak, you're not a writer, mate. See, I can bring the heat, I'm a fireplace. You claim to be on every street, you're not dire straits. Well, I'm a freak just cause I ain't got my wires straight. Wait, I was dropped as a baby, I gotta be crazy. Some people say I'm properly lazy, cause I don't buy a ticket but still play the lottery daily. And I spent half my life drunk, I'm still probably wavy. I've been warning that 2 wrongs can never make a right, and informing that 2 bongs can really make you fly. Your brain starts to get all para when you're blazing right, making brothers start cooking up beef, now the stakes are high. Anyway, I'm digressing on my life lessons. I like stressing cause it helps me find my blessings. They said I wouldn't go far, I'm whack and weren't a dope rapper. Now they're seeing when I step on tracks I'm going mo far up. I'm feeling a little worse for wear, still I gotta step up in the club, I got my verse prepared. I ain't dying till I'm done, they don't deserve my death. Tried my hand with drink driving, trying to swerve the stress. We've all got a bigger plan on our Instagram, but too afraid to say what is killing man in their innards, fam. I guess we're too afraid to speak our insecurities. I'm counting on one hand the kind of people that deserve this speech. Inadvertently, I made myself a worse of me. That's the curse when we are trying to live life purposefully. I stay reserved in peace, I'm bigger like Hercules, but I've still got a lot to learn like I'm in nursery. You introduce me to your guys, I don't feel those. It's only ever gonna be on sight when they're in steel toes. All this stress got me looking like I frown loads. I say it with my chest, fuck yourself if you're brown nose. Look at me now, bro, I'm still broke though. I need a bit of cash, I don't need a boatload. I just need a couple racks and I need some peace, mate. I need her to push it back like she's my release date. Lately I've been feeling like a legend. Everywhere that I step in I get respect like everybody's my brethren. And I've been teaching them lessons, I get my game on. I'm still chilling with the same don since day one. She's saying that she wanna fuck but she just came on. I'm cooking up this stuff so I'm the chef, call me Raekwon. We chatted all night, she still gets my name wrong. This tax has got me screaming to the sky, where's my wage gone? They tell me I need to chill cause I'm always stressed. I just say my mind's so broke I can't afford to rest. My insecurity showing me that my cause of death will probably be me overthinking, thinking about me thinking less. Damn. I guess we're too afraid to speak our insecurities. I'm counting on one hand the kind of people that deserve to speak. Inadvertently, I made myself a worse of me. That's the curse when we are trying to live life purposefully. I stay reserved in peace, I'm bigger like Hercules, but I've still got a lot to learn like I'm in nursery.
Word, power and sound. Every positive movement, every conversation, every connection, every seed you plant, ripple. Don't let anyone ever tell you that one person can't make a change. Bullshit.
On the dawn of a harvest sun, are we speaking the truth in the sharpest tongue? Feast on a rabbit, served with a garnished lunch. We got the hardest puns. Mind master, trust your ability. NPC is an IQ deficiency. They're living in mental captivity. I'll never submit to these bloodline dynasties. On the dawn of a harvest, crops are sown to trade corn with the farmers. Sometimes I want out of this nightmare society like I was born with the Amish. I've got the formula mastered, claiming our power, there's more to be harnessed. I'm no ordinary artist, try wage war, I'll be forming the armies. EQRANOX, that's Equinox. Our essence is infinite, not confined to meat suits or Tesla bots. On the night of a harvest moon, on the dawn of a harvest sun, we're telling them welcome to the Equinox. Welcome to the Equinox.
On the night of a harvest moon, I take flight to the farthest tomb. I meditate in the darkest room by the candlelight until the spark exhumes. On the night of a harvest, I see a silhouette hunter hold up a carcass. Any heartbeat's a target, and blood trails the ground like red carpet. On the night of a harvest moon, so sacred, silk on an ancient loom. Hooded robes in ritual rooms, pray all night from yesterday's moon. On the night of a harvest, farmers emerge and they set up a market. It's all business regardless, where your loot is bought and sold and bartered.
EQRANOX, that's Equinox. Our essence is infinite, not confined to meat suits or Tesla bots. On the night of a harvest moon, on the dawn of a harvest sun, we're telling them welcome to the Equinox. Welcome to the Equinox. On the dawn we glance to the east. We ain't scared of the mark of the beast. Performing sacred rituals, nobody but a shaman and me. If they wanna take take me out, they better come with at least 33 Schwabi and Fleet. Cause I won't go quietly, they're gonna have to do more to silence me. That's the irony, lost in this messed up society. They wanna force their views on our offspring, teaching our children that gender's non-binary. This is social engineering to try fulfill transhuman agenda. Al Gore better come prepared, cause I ain't in the mood to be censored. EQRA, that's Equinox. RSX is infinite, not confined to meat suits or Tesla bots. On the night of a harvest moon, on the dawn of a harvest song, we're telling them welcome to the Equinox. Welcome to the Equinox.
I'm a freelance quantum gardener with a homemade combine harvester. So when I see your crops wilting, I got the organic rod that will harden them. This realm rotates in cycles in counter-rotational Solomon spirals. Masons build towers like Eiffel and vortex points to drain your vital. Simulacrums appear cyclical, toroidal electro-spiritual. The holosphere projects physical, the manifestational synergy's mythical. We got problems, parasitical inside this torus field is critical. Henceforth mankind is pitiful. Rise and shine, please explain. No time, a little blow is tight. She's on the rhythm of rhythm. Who's that? The little skin. Loving the mic, I'm rinsing. Are you listening? She's on the rhythm of rider. Bust a liner. Feeling no time, no time. A little blow inside the vagina. I'm a rhymer, I'm a reaver. Bring the subject to the believer. To the follower, to the leader. To the stronger, to the winner. To the follower, to the leader. To the road, but I can sneaker. When I rock that will pop that speaker. Don't remember Al-Qaeda. Rise above family, Al-Qaeda.
It first started happening when crystal babies began